the No Randoms podcast. We've been gone for a little while. You got your boy Kev. You got your boy Anton.
Hey,
he waves.
we back.
There's a hey. You got your boy Shad.
What's up?
There he is. And we are excited to be with you. Where you been, boyos? Right? We took a little while off, couple weeks, maybe 3.5. If you are listening on the network, right? If you're listening to us on Comic-Con Radio, you were treated to some of our deep dive episodes from way kind of in the top of the pod, way back when we started in season 1, where we had a bit of a different format that we're bringing back, right? So we're going to continue our weeklies with the most important or interesting news, but also we want to spend some time making those deep dives into topics. So that's part of what we worked on while we were out. But again, if you're listening on Comic-Con Radio, you might have heard a couple of those. So we hope you enjoyed. Boyos, how was the break? Did you enjoy it? Shad, what have you been up to?
Honestly, I just tried to play as many video games as I can. Like I played that Star Wars game that, what is it? Something Lost Survivor. Fault.
Anton,
Jedi. Anton, what is it called? Jedi Survivor? Jedi Survivor?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I don't know. That's
like,
how we got Jerry last night. Jerry's like, can you hear me? We're like, Jerry.
Not following order.
Well, well, you get me. I played that. It was really fun. Super, super fun game. And then I've been playing pretty much just like Civilization games, like on my PC, like the last like couple of days. Oh, and there's
like
a new
Civ
game
or Civilization games.
That Timberborn game where you're the little beavers and they like build the little communities.
Love the beaver game. Angry Beavers was my shit.
But one game I've actually been playing, it's an FPS called what is it, Starship Troopers, like Extermination, and it's super crazy. Like you basically take over territories, and once you take over the third territory, an area opens up where you can build upon like a base, and like you fortify the base, and then there's like a scourge of just like, I guess, arachnids that come at you, and you gotta like defend each sides of the base. It's really fun. It's an open beta right now.
I like those.
Love it. Starship Troopers still making shit work 25 years later off the IP, and not the only time we will talk about Starship Troopers in today's episode. Who saw that coming? It's 2023. Be ready for anything. Anton, how was the break? What were you up to? What were you playing? What's going on, my man?
Man, I feel refreshed since our last podcast. Our last time we recorded, I was still getting about 5 hours of sleep. Excuse me. Since then, my baby is sleeping through the night. I am a new man. I am refreshed. I have time for video games. I've been playing new games. It's good. It's all good. So we're doing good over here. There it is. Fucking air horns for your ass. But no, man, it's been good. Just everyone's good over here. Been playing some games. Same with Jedi Survivor. Beat that. Hop back. That made me want to get into some PvP. So re-downloaded Battlefront. As y'all know, we've been on the Star Wars IP between that and Squadrons. Same old stuff though. We got into some clubs last night. The squad's been playing 2K again, since shout out to my king, my GOAT LeBron. Hell of a way to go out. But you know what, man, it's all good. We'll be back. Stuck in 17 rings. Anyways, yeah, but
We'll be back.
Yeah, Laker Nation will be back. But yeah, so we've been getting. Yeah, don't bring that slander in here. But, yeah. So getting back into some rec on some 2K. What else am I missing? And not playing Apex with everybody. So that's been good. My armpits haven't sweat in about 2 weeks.
Just refresh us as to maybe what you downloaded last night. What was in the queue?
FIFA.
Was it just FIFA? I just was wondering if that's the only thing you downloaded.
Okay, it is. It's currently back on the hard drive, but I haven't touched it yet, so we can't get into that. But
that's like when you unblock that X. You know what I mean? Like you're not really talking, but you unblock them. Like you're not even open to it, but you're not open to it. It's progress.
I know it's so weird. From the last one, I was like a lot of Call of Duty and shit, and then I haven't touched Call of Duty since then. To be honest. It's been a little.
We talked about that on an episode about like this. It's the waves. It's like COD, Apex, Fortnite, COD, Apex. Like it's just, and it's always something different, but it's just waves of the culture. It's like, where does it pull us and why? There's always two: Coke, Pepsi, COD, Apex, PlayStation, Xbox. Like there's always two. Weird.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so it's been good though. We've been doing all this stuff, trying out like Shad said, some other Civilization games. What about you, my man? I see you are moved. I knew you had a new setup. How's that been?
Oh goodness! Well, as you guys can see, if you're watching us on any platform other than the audio platform that this mainly is, you can see I'm not in my normal setup. I have been on the move, doing some work in my office, which is not the best, but it is good. Long story short, there's mold in there. We found out, you know what I mean. So your boy's lungs were compromised, but I picked up the phone and we had to get that handled. So I've been working. Actually, funny enough, the whole break since we've been out, I've been working from inside the dining room, which is not the move. Not the move with young children in the house. I have a team, we run a business, so we have things to do, lots of phone calls, presentations, nights of research, and it has been tough. I'm like, sorry, there's a baby right here. So I'm coming to you live from my bedroom. I remember
Mm.
seeing people that are like, actually, I'm in my kid's room, just don't during the pandemic and shit. And I'm like, you don't have anywhere in your house you could go to where you can tell your no, I have nowhere. Nope, this is it. So we're doing our best. But aside from that, again, it was a good break. I think we mentioned we took some time, one, to rework the pod. This man, one, to
Life comes
rework
at
the
you fast,
pod.
Kevin.
Like I was talking about old people just the other day. No, you know what I mean? We're sitting over here. I don't know. There's new generations now. Generation Alphas out there. We get old fast, baby. It happens.
That's a thing.
If y'all don't know about Gen Alpha, remember when millennials was a new thing?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I thought
the
it was still Gen
back.
X
Gen X is before, then us, millennials, then
or
Gen Z.
Z. That's what I'm thinking. Z. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Right. No, and then Gen Alpha. Grace is that's Gen Alpha.
Oh wow.
I know. And there's
Nice.
probably a new one coming up after that. Like my youngest is not going to be the same as my older. Maybe they're almost far enough apart. Maybe they're the same. Either way, we digress. It's a lot going on. I
Fuck
did
with
get
us,
older
Chef.
in those 3 weeks. That's what's clear. um, but like you were
Got
saying,
some
so
more
we
grays.
reworked the pod. I've got two now. Watch out. One, and I got one over here somewhere. We reworked the podcast and we played a ton of video games. Like it was a good games break. It was weird, but I felt and able to play a lot of games. So we got busy. Of course, a lot of NFL rivals, as you guys know, in my current passion project. Um, Madden. I got back into Madden. I've been joking about playing Madden Ultimate Team for research purposes. But for real, playing Madden Ultimate Team, we got a lot of FIFA. You know, your boys back to back Champions League champion in the make believe. So play lots of FIFA, a little career mode. Terrible at pro clubs. Oh, I gave the ball away. So Apex, Call of Duty, got a little bit of Fortnite in, ton of Zelda. Your boy was waiting for Zelda. We'll touch on that later on. Um, I'm forgetting something. Star Wars Squadrons. I got really into the Squadrons Shad in VR and with the joystick. From when I had broke
Wild.
my hand, I had the you know what I mean, the throttle with the thing. So I was like, all right, I've got all the equipment to play Squadrons in VR. I'm gonna sit down for the hour and a half it takes me to figure it out and figure out how to hook it up. So I was like lost in space, as was the family. They were out there in TIE fighters and shit. So definitely some Squadrons. Anton got me on Battlefront. I dipped into Final Fantasy VII, the remake on PC.
Very
I
nice.
got Age of Empires and Command and Conquer. Command and Conquer.
Oh
Yeah, boyo.
wow.
And then Football
What?
Oh.
Manager and F1. Yeah, you boy, I was going nuts on the PC. I told you, I got so many games. I've just been dipping and dipping and dipping. So I played a ton of games while we were out. Actually, imagine.
Bro, Command and Conquer would probably be like if I gotta fuck with that. If I can't put that on my, that'd probably be the one thing that I would get a PC for. I love those Red Alert games, bro. That's my shit. I love those
Bro, I
games.
like playing Red Alert or even Football Manager on the same screen as I got work in my meetings or whatever, and I've just got Football Manager simming games next to me. So the PC
It's
life
heaven.
is real.
It's
It's
heaven.
heaven.
It's literally been me like the last year and a half at work.
Right?
Just
And
like
Shad
literally.
knows. He's like, yeah, man, that's what I do. I also got Hitman. I just forgot about that. I haven't played yet, but I downloaded the Hitman. They put out a new one that I think is like a collection of the Hitman games.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like remastered. It looked dope. So I got a lot of good stuff. I've played most of it, but just trying to spend some more time really kind of grinding the different games. Of all things, I think it was NFL Rivals that got me back into it. Like working on the other side of a game and really being around gamers and remembering why, has pushed me. But then having the break, I think, helped. So I played a lot of video games.
Fuck yeah.
Win.
It was good. That's what we're supposed to do. You know what I mean? They say Kev plays. I say Kev plays games sometimes. I'd be remiss if I
Coming
did
from many
not plug.
houses.
If I did not plug our Discord, right? So we do have the No Randoms podcast Discord where we chat bullshit that's about video games. Also, that's where we collect topics. So if you ever want to hop in there, you know what I mean, check us out. It's in the link tree, or just send us a DM. We're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We're growing on the YouTube. So if you don't watch the show, there's always a visual. Shad works very hard to bring us a visual. So come watch us live. Our subscriber, I think we might be getting most listens/views on YouTube. So what's up, y'all? Either way, check us out because we're out there and we're going to keep coming to you. The goal is to bring you more content in this season. So we're excited for season 3. Without further ado, Shad, would you like to take us into what did not make episode 54? We've been gone for a long time. So a lot of stuff did not make episode 54.
Absolutely. The first topic, let's just jump right into it, is my favorite topic out of all of them. This is a game I played when I was a kid. Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake is officially happening. Super stoked on that. And then, oh yeah, but there's more to it. They're not just releasing the third one, they're also releasing the first one and the second one. So that's a huge win. The other game I'm super stoked about, the other topic, shall I say, is the Assassin's Creed Mirage game that's coming out. There's like 5 new details about the game with the new gameplay trailer that dropped. It's pretty good, but it's kind of like a prequel to the main one that just came out, and it looks like they have a pretty nice star-studded cast. The other one I want to talk to you guys about, I guess, is a game called SM2. Apparently, Activision sent a cease and desist to shutting down the game, and I guess the fans are absolutely outraged. Finally, well, not finally, we got Mortal Kombat, not 12, but we got Mortal Kombat 1 that's coming out. And they are literally the best when it comes to reinventing the games of Mortal Kombat, of the fighting style. The other topic I have is kind of sad, but it's the original voice of Crash Bandicoot died. His name is Brendan O'Brien. So rest in power, my man. Moment of sadness. I'm sorry. Thank you for being a part of my childhood. Speaking of my childhood, let's refer to my adulthood. Our boy Kevin Durant is officially in Call of Duty Warzone, and he's got the sickest merc like death ever. Like, I don't know what those things are called. They call emotes when they like destroy you.
Finishers?
Like, finishers. Yeah, that thing was wild. He literally dunked on someone or like threw a basketball at him. I don't know. She was great. On to talk Call of Duty news, we also do have like news from streamers Nick Merckx and Tim the Tapman. They're actually Call of Duty characters now, so they both have their own operators. Super rad. Talking about Nick Merckx, we're going to go ahead and jump into Nick Merckx addressing Rain's claim, or FaZe Rain's claim about him and the FaZe owners. Lots of weird stuff going on with FaZe right now. I don't know if you guys have heard. And then also segueing, gosh, these notes are awesome. Segueing into FaZe, they signed Stranger Things streamer, what's her name? Grace Van Dyne. She's also from, Stranger Things. To be real, I think she was only in like a few episodes and she had like a few lines, like cool. But I think her dad's like kind of like the best part of this. Her dad was in, Starship Troopers. What does he play? I want to know what he plays. And then I keep saying fun. Yeah, because I mean, he's the one who got her into games, but we can probably talk about that later if you want. And then we have 3 big things I wish I knew when I started Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I'm sure we'll talk about that later, Kevin. I'm sure you've played it like way more hours than I have. I haven't even bought it yet, sadly. Yeah. We got the FaZe Clan Nuke Squad. They show off their $12 million team mansion. Bronny moved in. Looks like Tico moved in as well. Pretty rad. And then we have Sonic Stars wants Mario crossover and Super Smash Bros. Movie. Think would be kind of cool with the success of the Super Smash movie, or like the Super Mario movie that came out. I think it'd be nice to have a Super Smash movie, but how they get all those IPs, I don't know. And it looks like we have or Fortnite ranked modes for Battle Royale and Zero Build coming in 24.40 patch.
A lot going on there. Yeah, some of that last stuff. Lots of FaZe Clan drama going on. Looks like even doubled up on the news. So like, if you guys can believe it, FaZe Clan has gotten worse and worse since we've been out. That was interesting. We didn't quite get too deep into it, but maybe we'll circle back later on. We did not cover Zelda just because we're going to get to it later on. Too big of a topic. So while we're out, we know that's something to talk about, but we will get back to it. Oh yeah, and then Bronny is living at that new squad house. That's kind of crazy. And so, anything you saw in there you wanted to double click on real quick before we move on?
Did you say me?
No, the other behind you.
I didn't hear you. Sorry, I didn't hear my name. I just heard. Is there anything you want to ask? I was like, did you say my name, bro? What?
Oh no, I'm being silly.
There was one thing I thought was pretty cool about Mortal Kombat. Did you guys see that? Apparently, I hope it's real. Homelander and them are supposed to be DLC for when it comes out.
Yeah. And who's that?
Yeah.
Shad, who's that guy from that anime with the mustache?
Oh, fucking
Who's that white guy
from HBO.
White anime guy.
I haven't seen
mustache.
it. The Untouchables, isn't it?
Damn, I thought that shit was gonna
Omni-Man.
work for sure.
Invincibles.
Omni-Man?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, Omni-Man.
Omni-Man, yeah.
It's the nigga from all the memes. That's all I know.
Yeah,
it's actually
Omni-Man,
both of them.
Homelander,
and Peacekeeper.
Even if you don't watch the shows, you know them from the memes.
Yeah, I swear I saw Peacekeeper in there too. Maybe I'm tripping.
Them Homelander memes are comedy though. No,
hell yeah,
the fucking best, dude.
Those all the milk stuff is I'm dead.
You read my mind.
Oh yeah, Amazon Italy accidentally revealed the characters. How fucking funny!
Oh, all of them?
Yeah, I'm trying to get to it here. Who is this? The 6 playable characters are said to be Quan Chi, Omni-Man, Ermac, Peacekeeper, Takeda, and Homelander.
Okay.
You can catch me on the Homelander one. That sounds kind of cool to me.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. I wanted to circle that.
Right? And then another one in there I think we skipped over that was funny. What kind of breezed through is that Activision. So Activision shut down at least 2 that I know of over the break. 2 different games came out that were like Call of Duty adjacent or Call of Duty reminiscent. I think one of them, I don't know if it's SM2 or a different one, but one of them was like recreating a bunch of the old maps, right? Mm-hmm. And they're supposed to be like free kind of passion projects made for all the players that love the old games. And Activision was like, you fucking thought. They came through. They went full Nintendo. You know what I mean? And they came through and they cleaned that out.
Yeah, SM2. They were using, I believe, the Modern Warfare, the first Modern Warfare's engine.
Yeah,
and so it was like a customer based thing. Just to kind of dive into a little more. They had all the skins. It was like a free to play thing. Mm-hmm. So they had all the maps from all the Call of Duties made. They had all the guns and then used the old engine, and then it was just for free. Wow. And then they had like some crazy grindy what the fuck is that? The Prestige. The Prestige. So that was it. It was just a free to play.
Which is supposed to be great. Like
no microtransactions.
It's like just nice to have passion project, and they're like,
which is literally what we all want. Like
bad guy Activision. Like, just quickly, how easy is it to like? This is amazing. What bring them fools in, break them off some money, help them hype it up, and just just own it. How easy? You just got bought for 80 Bs or whatever. You have the money. Why not just bring them in and make that shit official and like just listen to the community? If that many people want it. But instead they get bad guy Activision news on the podcast today. So you guys are stupid. Don't even have to make the game. Like, you'll make the game for us. All we have to do is like say okay. Like, how dumb is that? Just don't be a dick.
I sent, there was a FaZe Jev, or I guess he got like blacklisted by them because of this on Call of Duty. But he was talking about, he made a good point. He was like, I don't even understand why they'd be upset. It's not like anybody is like making any money off their name. It's not like anybody's stealing their shit and saying it's their own, He's like, at this point, when you compare the two, like blindly, he's like, if you look at this game and the reaction from fans and the new one, he's like, honestly, you'd arguably, like, who would you think even owns this, Oh. He's like, you would just think that there's somebody that just owns the title, but then they're just putting out their own shit. Like, you would think that the one that they took away is actually like a game that people would be wanting to play. You know what I mean? It's like they're just some tyrants that just own the rights to it. So they're like, no, fuck that. we're going to shove down your throat what we think you guys should play.
And then take
Like,
it from you. And then take it from
right.
you.
Right. That seems super interesting because I'm thinking from like an IP law standpoint, and I'm obviously not an expert, like I'm not an attorney, but it really only gets sticky when you're making money from these things. So like
Right.
if it's free, if it's all the way free to play, and it gets tricky because it's like, well, on what engine, like where you're downloading it from, like these channels, where you get it from matters. But like if you're running advertisement, all that shit. But still, if it's truly there's no profit in it, they there's a slim chance they don't have a case. That'd be really cool.
All
But
right.
again, still that's still much worse. Even when I zoom out, that's still worse than them just being cool about it and like, I don't know.
Do you
Be a
guys
good
think
story if
enough
they
like
just, like
Call of Duty?
propped them up.
Do you guys think enough like Call of Duty players like have migrated over to that game, and that's kind of why they're making us think about it? Do you think like they can
Absolutely.
actually
To
see
my
like a
knowledge,
user top off?
To my knowledge, they shut down. The game wasn't out yet. They got the C and D, and they were like, "Sorry, y'all." Again, I think there was two different companies. I'm not sure if it was SM2, but I saw one of them put a release on like Twitter that was just like, "Hey, to our community, sorry, thanks for the lulz, GGs, we're out." Like they got out of there.
Damn.
Activision has big attorneys.
Ooh.
That ADBs can, string your life up for a while.
That's such a weird thing too, because I would feel like if you were a smaller studio and some like homemade people just did some shit and like, you know what I mean, like again, weren't making any money off of you, but yet was driving a lot of attention and everyone was using your IP and your likeliness. It's like, why would you not break them, like we were saying, I guess I think if you said it, like why would you not break them off or bring them on the team, or like, hey, thanks, a smaller team would be like, hey, thanks guys, why don't we hear something for that, instead these motherfuckers are like, nah, fuck that. Get that shit out
Right.
of here,
If
like,
there's like
dude,
some
dickheads.
sneaker designer in Georgia, or like a sneaker boutique that's like making a, like Kith, when they start to make a big enough impact on the culture, Nike and Adidas, like the big sneaker companies, go to them and say, "Hey, let's work together." Right? Hey, let's make a Kith version of the shoe. Like, pay attention. Those are your partners in this game. Anybody who cares enough about your game to make one for you for free is a friend.
Right.
Duh. I say this in meetings all the time to brands all the time. Like, oh, we gotta take this down, or we gotta make sure nobody. We've talked about this with embargoes on news. Anybody that cares enough to sneak in and hack your computer to get the news about your game, fantastic. Please get it and share it. That's wonderful.
That's a lot of effort.
Hey, that means they really care about the game. Thank goodness people care. What if they didn't care? It's like you're fighting to keep them from caring. I'm like, all right, all right. We digress though. Quickly on that Face Clan stuff, I know we touched on it a couple of times. If you guys didn't see it though, it was wild cringe because they've been fucking things up. I seen so Rain. Last time we talked, Rain was just getting back with them. I think maybe shit was really bad. Rain was like, "Fuck this." Tico was like, "Hey, also fuck them." Then they brought Tico back. They announced the new Nuke Squad house. Barney James says he's staying in Los Angeles. He's moving into the Nuke Squad house, and Tico's coming. So it's like everything's good, and then we're back on, right? The like Rain's in the house, and like we're all hanging out, and then it fell apart again. So it looks like for a little while, Rain and Tico were like fuck FaZe Clan. They got Tico back in, so he's being like a good boy. Rain is still like, yeah, fuck this. So he started to out some more shit. He said Nick Merckx gets paid $1 million a year, and he gets paid way more than anybody else by a mile and a half, and he doesn't even fuck with FaZe Clan. Has anybody noticed he's never around those guys? Doesn't even act like he's in FaZe. They just paid him to save the brand, and he just gets to do his own thing, which is like, well, whatever. Who's hating on Nick Merckx? He was like, what has this guy even done that's relevant? I was like, who hates on Nick Merckx? Man just had a baby. Yeah. He's like the sweetest white man ever. Until he comes out saying the N-word like Joe Rogan. We're all for Nick Merckx on this podcast. And you guys still like Joe Rogan. I'm not mad at him, but you guys still like Joe Rogan. So even if he says the N-word, some of y'all might still fuck with him. We'll see where that goes. So that happened. Nick Merckx came back and said something. I didn't see what that was. Either way, the next thing they did was that Rain goes on another Twitter rant and is like, fuck FaZe Clan, you guys don't even know, like the next thing they're about to do, instead of signing talent from the community or signing somebody who's really been grinding or somebody that you love, they're going to sign that fucking girl from Stranger Things, the blonde chick that didn't even, like wasn't even on there for a long time. And it's such a clout grab. And then the internet goes all nuts, and then like 2 weeks or 3 weeks later or whatever, they put out a video with like Nate Hill and this, and I don't know her at all, so all power to you. More women in gaming, she's great. What I do know for sure is that they signed her and put out what feels like a cringe video to me, and it sparked what Kotaku was calling a civil war across FaZe Clan. So like I seen like Booyah and some of the Nuke Squad guys came in and were like, "Let's go!" And then people are like, "Who the fuck is FaZe Booyah?" And so it's there's this right. There's like this long, like literally explaining in the comments, like, "Oh, he's from Nuke Squad," so it's like Booyah is part of the Nuke Squad. That's part of FaZe or part of Swag's thing. Who's
When the
still kind of
fuck
a
do we
newer
get
guy
ice
from the new
cream?
generation, and right. It's like, hold on, like what happened to our FaZe? Like uh, uh,
If I can kind of get on
so
those
either way.
coattails, Kev.
Hmm?
I believe what's his name, Rain, got on Mercs because of his operator, like we had said in Call of Duty,
Oh, his
was
operator
because
skin.
yeah,
Fair enough.
because of him and Tim, and because they're like, I mean, power to them, cool, you know what I mean? Like we like them, but what the fuck do they do for Call of Duty? Tim doesn't even play Call of Duty. Like he's all about Counter Strike
That is really funny. I
you know
forgot
what I
Nick doesn't
mean?
play Call of Duty either. He plays
And the
Apex.
same for Nick. They're like Nick literally does not play Call of Duty at
Oh,
all. He's all about Apex. Like he competitively plays Apex and shits on Call of Duty. Like why would he get an operator before who are we talking about? Like Scump or somebody. You know what I mean? Like
or mad people, right? It
yeah,
doesn't. I mean, I guess it's interesting. I guess it makes sense from like the raw celebrity point of view, but it's another big community miss, right? It's like it's putting Nick Merckx in
huge.
the same conversation as Kevin Durant instead of thinking about who are the operators, who are the players that you owe this to the most. And one thing I will say is I saw the skin and more power to him. Again, big fan of Nick Merckx, but it wasn't a FaZe Clan skin.
Also
It
that.
didn't do anything for the FaZe Clan brand, right? Right?
No,
As
that's on
FaZe
Nick.
Nick Merckx, like it's all about him. It's his own situation, his own branding, his own idea, which is awesome. But you could have at least thrown them some like it could have been kind of red or something, or had a little camo, something.
I feel like that's why they signed him though. You know what I mean?
Look, if I'm Nick
Like
Merckx, I don't say shit about this. If I'm Nick Merckx, I'm like, okay, I have a
like I
I
don't
have
know
an
that
8
that's
week
between you
old.
guys.
I have an 8 week old. I'm in Call of Duty. Like I have my own. I'm clearing millions of dollars for my barbecue. It's the summertime. Like, and what's he like 25 or some shit? I don't have
Yeah.
time to shush everybody. I could care less what you think.
He even said
So, do
it.
you think Nick Merckx? What's that?
Yeah, he even was like, honestly, I have a baby. Like, I don't care about all this drama. He goes, and I think he went on saying that he feels bad for like FaZe Rain. That he kind of in like a sympathetic approach, like very empathetic. Like it sucks that he's gone through a bunch of stuff. It is real. He has gone through it, but none of that has to do anything with me. And I'm just trying to take care of my family. And it's just like, damn, respect.
Right. Right. Depending on how you land there, as long as it's not shady at all, it's just like, man, like what are you mad at me for? I'm trying to feed my family. I have children. What do you want me to
Get
say no to
bodied.
the check?
Yeah,
Call of Duty
right.
calls. Sorry, Call of Duty. There are better gamers that could be in this. So the answer is no. Like my nigga, it's me and my boy Tim the Tap Man. We've been playing video games for my whole fucking life. Call of Duty just called and offered to put me in the game. Yeah,
I'm crying. That
you know what I
reminds
mean.
me. I seen some
Battlefield could
TikToker.
call us right now. And I go in the game. What's that?
Nigga, y'all could put me in
Put me in.
fucking Fortnite. You got me fucked up. I'll be out here, yo. Shit.
Wearing all the
That,
merch.
shit, I'll be out here swinging around doing some fucking other shit. You got me fucked up, swinging my fucking battle axe and shit, jumping off the bus. Nah, that makes me think of some nigga that called this TikToker a sellout because he started streaming, and it's like, oh, the entertainer's a sellout. Oh, me doubling down my revenues. Oh, like nigga, you don't pay my rent. Shut the fuck up. Like,
You should stay broke.
you should keep making videos. Keep on one thing, dude. Fuck you. Like, get out of here.
Crazy to me.
Sorry.
We
We
would
went off
fuck it
on
up though if we didn't mention the very last thing though, because Chad hit the nail on the head. The coolest thing about that whole deal is that Grace chick we found out through the video release she had. Her dad was the
Mhm.
main character from Starship Troopers, and that was my fucking movie. That guy was the shit. I will say though, I didn't realize how racist the scene was where he was getting lashed like a slave until now. That's the
Oh
scene they show
wow.
where he gets strung up and they start to lash him, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that before." Y'all seen Roots? And I was like, "What the fuck is this?" So, for what it's worth, got a little bit of a different view, but that movie is still a classic. Starship Troopers was the shit, and her dad was the main character guy that played that like future 2050 football shit where they're playing on AstroTurf and they have like the weird. I'll never forget that. So, shouts to my man, Grace Van Dien's dad, Mr. Van Deen,
Mr. Van Deen.
Mr. Van Deen. If we're all good there, Anton, we've got 5 strong topics today. If you want to slide us in, we'll chat about what those are. Hey, we did that again. Seemingly, I can't help it. You know what I mean? That's where we're going to be every week. Anton is. I'm going to stop before I say that next quote because that was another clip. What do we got this week, Anton?
Demonetize the hell out of us. So let's see. That's not what we will be getting into. Number one, a $2 billion with a B dollar partnership deal falls through for the Embracer Group. PlayStation had their showcase, or PlayStation. It's blanking me now, but their PlayStation Showcase recap. Everything announced at the show, the top games, trailers, so forth. Number three, details of EA Sports college football video game leaked ahead of a 2024 release. Spider-Man 2 got a 10-minute gameplay demo at the PlayStation Showcase with a new. We'll get it. I'll just save it. We'll just get into that. And then lastly, Starfield feels like Xbox's last chance at redemption, which there is a whole lot we need to unpack with that.
We got a lot of notes. This is going to be a long comeback episode, but it's hard to resist because we had lots to catch up on. We're like 35. Yeah, we're 35 minutes in and just about to start. But again, bear with us, y'all. We do have a new, slightly tweaked, like we said, run of show for us. So we're getting through some new hurdles, but so far so good, and ready to get into these topics. Let me scroll down right quick. Me. Anton, I might surprise you with some topics in here.
Do it.
But without further ado, up first is that PlayStation Showcase recap. So everything announced at the show, we got lots of topics on that one. To start, PlayStation finally pulled back the curtain on its PS5 lineup for this year. And beyond today's PlayStation Showcase in 2023, they showed off a ton of upcoming games for the PS5 and PSVR 2. Let's see, starting from the top, the reveal of Metal Gear Solid, which we talked about just briefly, Spider-Man 2, which we're going to talk about in depth, Dragon's Dogma 2, a release date for Alan Wake 2, and a lot more. So we're going to talk a bit about everything we saw then. First up, we did not get a release date for Spider-Man 2, but we did get lengthy gameplay. That was pretty exciting. I think what was maybe the most important from this showcase, or most important for me, I guess for me alone, was the hardware, the accessories. So Sony announced a device codenamed Project Q that will allow players to stream any game from their PlayStation 5 console using remote play over Wi-Fi. It's got an 8-inch HD screen and all buttons and features. The new DualSense. Oh, this is weird. You can stream any game from their PlayStation 5 console using remote play over Wi-Fi. It has an 8-inch HD screen and all buttons and features the DualSense controller has. They used the wrong and. Grammar, guys. No release date was given for this new hardware. Sony also revealed the first official PlayStation 5 earbuds. So that was an ugly paragraph for me. 2 headlines. One, PlayStation handhelds coming out, which I think we talked about before. But we didn't have all the full details. We didn't get to really see it. Lots of speculation. Now they really show what it looks like, and it's like on the way, which was funny because I think we joked about it at first, but then for a second we're like, is anybody gonna not get this realistically? I'm buying.
Oh yeah, I'm so torn on that because I saw it and I was like, fuck. Like damn, I want that. Especially with the earbuds, like you mentioned. I'm like, bro, you're telling me I could fucking just be.
Yep.
Just be chill. Oh man, that's. I want to hate. It looks exactly like that.
Mm-hmm.
It looks exactly like that. Honestly, I was gonna say, do you have that little handheld thing? Yeah. Exactly like that with some PlayStation branded earbuds, dude. Oof.
For me, this is like the Apple Watch, right? When it's like. But it only really, it's like, oh, it does all these things. Like, no, it only works with your phone. It's more of an accessory for the other thing. Like, it's kind of for show. It's like, you really don't need it, right? It's like, it's not the same as your phone. But it is really convenient if you have a phone, right? Like, if you didn't have a PlayStation, this would not be for you. If you didn't have an iPhone, I'm like, don't buy an Apple Watch. But if you do have one, this is your best friend. Like, yeah, this is your best friend, right? I talk
Mhm.
so much about where I am in the house to play the games, and it's like if I could bring my, if I didn't have to lug the thing and plug it in and plug it, I would do that a lot. I don't know, Shad. You saw this? What were your thoughts? You gonna get it?
Honestly, at first I was not about it because I don't really like the whole, I guess, like has to be over Wi-Fi thing. And I've told you guys before, I use the my iPad
Right.
Pro with the PS remote app. But like I'm a huge brand enthusiast for Apple, for for Sony. I mean, I just got some amazing Sony earbuds in preparation for the new earbuds that they're releasing. And yeah, I'm
Oh
like
yeah, it was crazy.
I'm gonna get it. Like I have to get it. Like it's just like a Sony purist maybe kind of thing. I mean, it's just it has to be worth something for it to be put onto market. Someone would have been like, no, this is a stupid idea. Don't do this. You know what I mean? I feel like someone would have. So I think it might be cool. They might
Well,
add some features to it, maybe. Haptic.
oh, I wonder if I want that when my screen's controlled to it too. Maybe though.
Hmm.
My thought is like PSVR or whatever. Like I'm not buying that. There are
Mhm.
some things that, like just because they put it out, I'm like I don't. There's stuff they put out that I don't want. Their Pro controller or whatever. I'm like I given the choice, I would still rather buy Scuff. It's like a brand thing, which is another like rather than making your own, work with Scuff. Like that's cool. But neither here nor there.
Mhm.
For this though, I think for me it's a can't miss product. Like I think it's we were joking about, of course, no financial advice, but we were like, hey, we should invest in Sony stock. It was like for real because like they're continuing to make smart decisions in the long term and they're crushing, but their investment in hardware I think is going to really help. And I don't know. I feel like this is a can't miss product. I think people are going to buy the hell out of this. All these people that have PS5s, they've had it for a little while. They clearly have the money, or they'll find the money to buy this. Um, and I think that also, unlike us, who are all leaders of households, most people, or lots and lots of people, are not, right. So they can't command the TV in the room or the space, or even have the monitor and say, "Hey, everybody, I'm going to play my game right now for a while with headphones on, so be quiet." Those people that are playing in it, I think this is a game changer for them. So really excited to see it.
Hell yeah.
And again, I think I might go back into that. There's a lot for PlayStation. So again, bear with us. So we got some new accessories. The next Assassin's Creed game, which we did chat about, but that was part of the showcase, right? So all built in, both Metal Gear Solid and Assassin's Creed were built into the showcase there. For what it's worth, I thought this was of note. Metal Gear Solid, Assassin's Creed is coming to all platforms, including Amazon Luna. So somebody's playing Assassin's Creed on their TV, and I'm sad for that person. They also debuted a new Final Fantasy 16 story trailer. This is the first time in the Final Fantasy history that I've had to like count like what is the X. Normally normally I got it and I'm like, all right, we're getting up there. Final Fantasy 16 story trailer debuted ahead of its fast approaching June 22nd release date. Plus Bungie announced a new marathon game, which they said that like, you guys know, a new marathon, and I was like, what? Apparently the last marathon game came out in 92. So I was like, don't say it like we know what the hell that is, dorks. But yeah, so Bungie has a new game. Bungie was around in 92.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what? Don't say you
I
didn't
was
learn anything
crying.
on our
Who
pod.
was it? I watched the showcase, the PlayStation showcase. Doctor
Yeah.
Disrespect streamed it live, and when they showed that, he was like, "Oh wow, Bungie with another futuristic game with some weird looking guns. Cool."
Never
I
seen
was
this
like, "Damn."
before.
I was like, "Damn, he's kind of right."
Um,
Huh?
People seem kind of excited about it, but you never really know, right? We got a new look at Street Fighter 6. So,
Mhm,
new Mortal Kombat and a new Street Fighter coming up in the same year.
mhm.
Sure. You know what I mean? I'm down. Um, Goodness, lots going on. Jade Raymond's Haven Studio reveals fair game $sign. Is that an NFT game? I don't know. The Talos Principle 2 is coming this year. And then one I wanted to touch on, which is why I went so long here. They have a game called Foam Stars that's coming out that apparently is like PlayStation's answer to Splatoon. So interested to see how that works. Like, you guys know I'm a big fan of Splatoon, and the way they landed the shooter, third person shooter, I guess, but the shooter action where you're not killing it, like shooting without violence. I thought it's really important. Again, as a parent, I think it can go really far. But also, there's a cultural alignment with Nintendo and like non-violence, right? Not so much with PlayStation. So I wonder where that will go. Um, so we'll see how that goes. Honestly, it looks kind of stupid. I didn't spend much time with it. Did you guys see this? Foam
No, I
Stars?
don't think I saw that. Foam
It looks
stars.
it looks
Let
foam
me hold
stars. It
on.
looks really dumb, but we'll see. Okay, so skipping around just a
Here we go.
bit around topics from around the industry that I saw there. Can you see it?
Yeah, Diablo is loud. Yeah, I'm looking at it.
What do you got? What's your Shad made a face? What's your knee jerk reaction?
They're fighting in the street.
Ooh, I didn't see
Someone's
gameplay by the way. I only saw like
jumping around.
artwork.
Oh yeah, there's a reveal trailer, PlayStation Showcase. Oh, this looks weird. Hold on, let me
It's
add this to
weird.
the chat.
You can share. I mean, you can share if you want to show it.
Oh yeah, here.
We've been out for 3 weeks. You know what I mean?
There we go.
Got to relearn computers sometimes.
You guys got this?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, no, I don't like this.
I want cotton candy.
Yeah, the colors. It's like really neon. That's weird. Of all things, the colors kind
That's
of give
loud.
me like a headache. Ew, and they're
Yeah, I
surfing
got
on
to.
it.
That's interesting.
No, no,
Yeah,
no,
I
it's
didn't know
bad.
this.
Of all things, they're missing like the squid part is what really ties it together. That's weird if you don't play Splatoon. That sounds silly, but it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is weird. The like like the human beings shooting foam at each other. Insert like, don't make it a human world. The other weird thing about Splatoon, where they're like squids with fashion and like ink, it's like silly, but it makes sense. So I don't know. Another big win for Nintendo, and I can confidently say Foam Stars sucks. I'm not new at this. I did lose track of our notes though.
I'm stoked. On that showcase, I don't think you
There we
mentioned
go.
it. They did mention that finally The Last of Us 2 is gonna have their factions, their multiplayer is finally coming.
Oh wow.
Right, Naughty Dog keeps talking about that. That's fair enough. Fair enough. Also, for what it's worth, in terms of media, Shad, all of these links with the same headlines are in the Discord. I'll make sure to put them in the notes going forward, like I normally do. We went a bit fast now, but in case there's anything specific you're looking for, they're somewhere.
Cool.
So next in like the rumor mill, which is actually interesting. Whoa. Okay, somehow my mouse on my computer is controlling my iPad.
That's cool.
You know,
I
like
didn't
when
know you
Apple
could
gets too smart.
do
You know what I mean?
that.
Like I don't I don't know if you guys can see this.
Oh,
Is
what the
that mouse
heck?
moving? Yeah, that's my trackpad on my. What the hell? Too smart.
My dude
Too
got Wolf.
smart.
He got everything connected.
Every wolf.
Have you guys? Well, have you seen that shit where like you can use your iPhone camera on a Zoom call?
No,
If that's not the worst idea I've ever heard,
really?
that
So you
niggas,
can just connect it to your phone and just use your phone as your.
which
Oh,
I
that's
get for the convenience, but imagine you accidentally turn on your phone camera. It's one thing to think I've got my computer covered. My phone could be like that's somebody, not me, hopefully, but somebody has definitely already accidentally linked their iPhone camera to a Zoom call and has shown something they didn't want to. Either way, this is a gaming podcast. We'll get back to it. But for what it's
Yo.
worth, I
Shout out to
cannot
the
control
internet
this phone.
HBO that sent out the blank email to thousands of subscribers.
That was great. How do I? This is crazy. I don't know how to get out of there. We'll figure it out. Good thing I got the notes here. So right, getting back, there was a rumor, I guess, though it's going around that maybe Sony was actually holding back at the showcase. Did you guys check that out?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Right, I'll get into it because they had so much. It went great, but established industry insider Tom Henderson went online to suggest that Sony has been holding back with that showcase. He says many of the titles from the event are pretty much ready, even though they are yet to be treated to gameplay reveals and release dates as of May 25th. Soon thereafter, another known leaker, known as the Snitch, said that they were surprised to see Sony choosing to omit several AAA games that are on the horizon from its PlayStation Showcase lineup. Elaborating on that claim, the Snitch stated that another PlayStation PC port is currently slated to release in July, adding that it's super weird this game wasn't present at the May 24th event. Broadly speaking, the notion that a major publisher would hold back on announcing near finished products isn't really that crazy. Yeah. Well, anything about that, right? You think they're holding
No,
back? Anton, I feel like you're the closest to this. What do you think?
of course not. everything going on with them and Xbox, yeah, like I would not expect them to go to the PlayStation showcase. I mean, I think they gave a fair amount of what the fans want, like with The Last of Us, with the Armored Core preview. What was the Bungie one? What was that?
I
Marathon?
forgot. I forgot about Armored Core.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I mean, they had plenty of between the hardware as well. Fuck, what was the other thing they had? The Mortal Kombat. I mean, they had plenty of stuff to drop. I think to release to give the fans enough to talk about, enough content to be made from. But no, with as much money as they have, dude, I think of them like the government. You know what I mean? It's like even everything they showed us, like with the earbuds. It's like, oh hey, we got some PlayStation earbuds for you guys.
Wait,
It's like,
hold on,
dude,
go
are you
back. You
kidding
said
me?
like the government. PlayStation's pretty much the government.
Well, I mean, in a sense of like they be doing shit, like you know what I mean. Like them niggas, like bro, they're moving in the billions. They got so much money over there. They just put on this showcase for us just to like give us an itch to like shut the fuck up and shit. Like next thing you know what I mean. They probably had these earbuds for years, and now they're finally dropping them like a handheld, as if they didn't have the PSP 10, 15 years ago. You know what I mean? So it's like, no, I think that they've had this shit
Vita.
now that, yeah, the Vita, now they're just finally dropping it, and especially with everything going on and all the exclusive stuff, they can't show their whole hand and let.
It's interesting you say that because again, there was some more like kind of fine print on the hardware stuff I saw in there. It said just from other people are leaking more information or getting it or whatever. So either way, apparently according to the fine print, well, one thing, Shad, it does have haptic feedback and adaptive triggers, so we do have that as confirmed by these people at least. And then it says, oh, any games you play on the queue must be installed on the PS5 console itself. Did we know that already? I think we knew that. It's like
Yeah.
a companion device.
Yeah,
Okay, and that's still fine. So that's not even super new to us. This person did say that it's worth stating that Sony is one of the foremost companies with a cloud gaming service, when it currently seems to be overhauling based on the many job postings that they dug up. So Sony has been serious about their cloud gaming. Anton, like you just mentioned, they've already been in this handheld business. And apparently, if you look at the job, it's so interesting that that's where these things are leaked. But if you look at the job postings, they're really investing in that cloud gaming space. So we'll see how it goes. This is
y'all
it does
bitches
this one
LinkedIn.
person said, right? It says here their tease didn't address whether you'd be able to use the queue to stream games outside of your house.
No,
That's interesting.
that's my biggest complaint about that. I was gonna say it earlier, but then we start talking about other shit. Is the latency on that? Because since it's Wi-Fi, like if you don't have fiber, I feel like that's gonna be cheeks, bro. Especially playing Apex or anything like that on that, bro. That's gonna
No
be
way.
cheeks of clock. If you're on Wi-Fi away from your PlayStation, especially if you're not hardwired and you're playing on Wi-Fi over that, bro, that's. I guess you wouldn't be able to. I
Well,
mean, not to be.
what if
I mean, I guess
I
you
mean,
probably
what
would
if
avoid that, but still.
what if you're playing on the game? What if you're playing on the console and what you're streaming is just from the console to the device, right? So it's not latency. Like
Right.
it would be the same. You know what I mean? So like you're not building that from the server level,
Like
right? You can
casting
cut
it.
all that out. It'd be the same speed. You only have to really, and that might be why kind of how they developed it, right? It's truly a companion device. So like you only have to deal with how close you are to your PlayStation.
Mm.
Mm.
Does that make sense? Does that
Yeah.
like help a little
Yeah.
bit?
Yeah.
That's
That's what
my
I mean. I mean,
thought.
it's that, and
That's
that's
how they do a
what
lot of
gets me
cloud
on the.
computing now.
Yeah, that's the only negative side of it to me is that like I think it's really cool, but then the flip side of it, I'm like, oh, I can't be too far from my PlayStation, or how far will that work from my PlayStation decently?
Well,
As someone that
and
has
that's what we
luckily
talked
good internet,
about.
like, yeah,
That's what we were talking about too, though. And again, I guess now the Apple Watch can go sell you there on its own. But that was the thing when it came out at first, is people are like, "Well, yeah, but it only works if I have my phone." And it's like, yeah, and that's amazing. It's like, yeah, okay, like so maybe we're not all the way there. It's like, but let's not forget the fact that that's fantastic. Like that is because again, right now, where do you play your PlayStation?
yeah,
Only at home. So it's like, so it's still what it is. It still got better. I can't take it anywhere with me, but I can take it more places.
yeah.
So it's still progress in that direction, but interesting as we keep kind of breaking through that. So we'll see how that goes. Um, Even more interesting, I guess, kind of last two topics there. I saw. Did you guys see that Xbox kind of took a shot at PlayStation afterwards? I
Oh yeah,
appreciated
that's
like the lighthearted.
fantastic.
I like when they're having fun, right? It says following the hyped PlayStation Showcase event, It seems Microsoft and Xbox threw some cheeky shade with the tweet that gamers are loving. Each section of the dedicated showcase presented viewers with a short, ambiguous teaser trailer and a first look gameplay snippet or both. However, it became apparent to many and Xbox that a majority of the games shown during the showcase had one thing in common: they were also coming to Xbox. The official Xbox Twitter account posted a picture featuring 12 games, including the likes of Alan Wake 2 and Assassin's Creed Mirage, and a cheeky little caption: "What a good looking group." The tweet is
Oh.
definitely a nod to Sony Showcase featuring a lot of third party games, something that Xbox showcases have been criticized for in the past. Renowned industry specialist Jez Corden, what a name, Jez, said Xbox is entering its villain arc. Are we here for it? Y'all
Yes.
down for Xbox to be a bad guy Xbox?
Jess.
Yes. Yes.
Couldn't resist.
Yes. Yes, I am.
We all need to go follow Jess Corden right now. It's like, what? You just became a meme. But that was fun. And again, I did appreciate, like we were saying, whenever they can be fun about this. This article said cheeky like 8 times, so I'm going to stop saying cheeky. But whenever they can have fun with the little feud there, let's stop going to court and let's laugh a little bit more. Last in PlayStation news, at least for now, this kind of leaked out in the midst of the showcase. Sony says it sold 600,000 PSVR 2 units in 6 weeks. From Engadget, apparently PSVR 2 sold way better than its predecessor in the weeks after it became available. During a business presentation, Sony revealed that it sold almost 600,000 PSVR 2 units within its first 6 weeks of availability, around 8% more than its PSVR sales for the same time window. I was very surprised to see that that anybody buys this.
Me too. I feel like I'm a hater about these VRs, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I'm just undoubtedly, and I'm not a hater, but I feel like I'm a hater about these because I see these things and I'm like, who the fuck
Okay.
is buying these? And what are you playing? That fucking the Horizon DLC? Because I be looking at the VR games in the PlayStation market, and I'm just like, I don't want to play. Even if I had one, I don't play none of these shits. None of these games look fun to me. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the dickhead. I don't know. But it's just I don't understand. Especially for this much money. Oh, y'all can get these VR2s, but where the fuck was this shit when the PlayStation 5 came out? You know what? Let me just again, I'm being a hater. I don't know why. These things just don't.
Boom.
Thank you. I just
That's my
don't. I'm
face.
trying, man. I'm really trying. Seriously, who's playing this? Do y'all know? I got 100 people on my friends list. I don't see nobody playing nothing in VR.
And I would say anybody that I see playing it, I'm like, I know you're playing by yourself. Is that weird to say?
No.
Like this, the social experience is like we talk about. Even Shad, we love our PC so much, still playing PlayStation. Why? Well, that's what my friends are. It's like video games are better with friends. It's a it's a steep. I remember when it came out, and we're like, VR is great. It is. It's fantastic. It's a
It is.
steep learning curve.
Yeah.
Like,
It is.
but we've talked about this again and again. I look kind of dumb. It's hard to like get space in the house where I don't also look like it's hard enough to get space where you can play on your own, and that's for our age group, I guess. But like, yeah, again, even if you're a kid and you have all this time, then you really got to be like, all right, mom, ma.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm in my room, ma, leave me alone. You got to be in your room with the whole space. Kind of a dork. I don't know, man.
Can I just get
I feel
this?
like an old guy.
If VR could be just this, where we can just put this over our eyes and it'll do like you can either have augmented or non-augmented, which is like full reality, that would be sick.
Hmm.
But it's like
Go
again,
full Black Mirror. Give me
Anton, the way you do it, bro, like it does get old after a while, and then I don't know, like it hurts your neck. I don't know. It just doesn't really seem all there yet. I
It
want it to
does.
work. I want it to work, but it's like, what do we need to get it there?
And they're not glasses wearer friendly. I'm sorry, that's another big complaint.
Facts, true. You can get spacers, but you shouldn't have to pay for that if you're already paying like I don't know, however much it is, maybe over $1,000 to get like a full set of like VR headsets. You should be able to get spacers for glasses, or just I don't know, or get
And to play
contacts,
the good
dude.
games, like you have to be plugged in still, right? Like you got to be plugged
Yeah.
into your PC, which is kind of cool. But like also, I got to why? Like I look crazy. I told you guys I was playing Squadrons in VR and it was awesome. I'm well aware. I look like I'm plugged in, or not even plugged into the Matrix. I look like that guy from Grandma's Boy. You know what I mean? And like the whole, I look like that guy. I've got because my computer screen is still there with
Yeah.
all my light up keyboards and everything. I'm not even touching that shit, right? That's just extra in front of me stuff. The mouse, keyboard, all that stuff. Then I have the joystick that I'm on the thing with the headset. I've got also my Oculus controllers that I'm not using, but they're also on the table, right? Because you need them sometimes. So then I'm on the thing, headset, cable, all the lights and everything going on. You look crazy trying to have fun. And then if you do like the pièce de résistance, if you put the headphones on and you're not playing off the shitty Oculus speakers, you look crazy. This is a silly thing. You look crazy and you have no fucking clue what's going on around you.
Could you imagine
So
having that visual of your dad in your head?
thank you. My wife got to walk by like, this is the guy. You look like the dude from Grandma's Boy. It's like, you look crazy. And then you're in there trying to dodge and shit. And it's like, I am having fun, but there's no way to look cool while I'm doing it. And if anybody acts like that, doesn't matter. Well, bless you. It does matter to a lot of people. So I don't know.
I just
It's all
can't wait to
that.
watch this beef on like I don't know, Netflix or HBO is gonna pick this up. This is gonna be the wild documentary in like 10 years, dude. I can't wait.
Yeah, the VR
Fucking
VR
saying it,
wars, the
dude.
VR
No,
race.
just Xbox and PlayStation, bro. It's gonna
All
be
or it's
awesome.
gonna
Oh
be
yeah,
Amazon all or nothing. Xbox versus
we should
Sony.
start working on that movie right now.
Yeah.
Chad, that's a hilarious idea. One season of all. We'll get into that when we talk about Starfield and whether or not that's like the Xbox's saving grace. We'll move along only because we got a lot, so we'll keep going. You guys, let me know if we need to make this a 2-part episode. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep on rolling. Chad, great topic find, and I think we talked about this before. And as I went deeper into this next one, I realized that we've chatted about a bunch of the news in this story in the last year and a half or so, last 2 years. I just didn't know it was all the same group. So either way, big story going on. I'll do my best to capture it here, despite the fact that my notes have been a little herky jerky today. Here we go. $2 billion partnership deal falls through for Embracer Group. What a nightmare. Sprawling Swedish video game company The Embracer Group is reeling following its announcement that a, quote, transformative partnership that's been negotiated for months fell apart on Tuesday night. Driving the news, Embracer said the collapse of the mega deal, the partner of which still has actually not been revealed, was unexpected. Embracer said that it had a verbal commitment in October and described negotiations as taking far longer than expected. Shares of Embracer Group were down more than 40% the next morning. Details said all documentation was finalized and ready to go as of the Monday before. Embracer CEO Lars Wingfors told investors Wednesday morning, "We asked for the execution of the agreement before our Q4 announcement. However, late last night, we received a negative outcome from the counterparty." Compounding the bad news, the company lowered its earnings forecast for the next year, citing game delays from a range of $965 million to $1.3 billion, down to $655 to an upward end of $840 million. So a significant restructuring there. Good. That was
Mm.
bad. I'll go on here. It says, for years now, Embracer has been snatching up every small publisher and game studio it could find. In 2020, it was Saber Interactive. In 2021, it was Gearbox that makes Borderlands. And in 2022, it was Crystal Dynamics. Did you guys see about this? Again, we can go a little bit further as we go on, but did you guys catch this? Did you guys see the way they got set up? It looked so painful. They had this big deal they've been talking about forever, which means your company is very successful. And I just feel like, so clearly they got rugged. Like, this is the definition of a rug pull. But if your partner won't let you disclose who they are, is that not your first big red flag? That's as I'm reading this, and they're like, so who's the partner that pulled on him? Who's the mysterious person that
Literally.
was going to spend $2 billion? How many people can spend $2 billion?
Hmm. That's
None
what
of
I keep thinking
them,
of this whole time. Like who the fuck
right?
were they
None of
buying?
them that
Star
have the
Wars or
money,
something?
right? The Republic or whatever. None of them that have the money could do that shit quietly. So what are you like? Who was it? Trump? Who was it? I want to know who this was. Who were you selling to that was like, psych? And the way that they did this the night before their Q4 earnings announcement. So again, like I'm sure we'll show it in the video if you guys are watching this.
Mhm.
he had a presentation the next morning. Like he had a presentation to all of their shareholders where the CEO had to go and sit down and get asked questions about how they're doing. And so there's a video of this guy. He's literally sitting back like this, just like he can't even hide. He can't even hide it. It's like how yeah. There's the image of him. I went to watch the video, listen to him talk, and he can't hide it. And he's not being unprofessional. He's doing a great for the circumstances. But it's like, what do you guys expect? He literally answered a question. He's like, they're like, how's the cash flow? And he's like, well, as of last night, it was fantastic and had well surpassed all of our goals. But obviously, that's history now, so it's not good. I don't know, man. This poor guy, like that's incredible insult to injury, right?
Yeah, it's still a lot of money, but yeah, that's my dude was crushed, dude.
Well,
I just,
their
I,
earnings are different than like profit, right? So like they
mm,
might make that much, but that might be all their profit.
yeah, I was looking at them like these niggas have Lord of the Rings too. Like who?
Tomb Raider.
Yeah, Tomb. I'm like, what? So who? What again? Who was it? Who was it? Well, but they can't. Yeah, they can't. I don't know. I feel like
Well,
I'm watching
that
Succession in real life or some shit.
that takes us to a good next point. I saw in a different article. It said the big question now is who Embracer was planning on partnering with, and for what? What were they going to do that was a $2 billion price tag on it?
Right.
Wing4 said the company had been working on the deal since last fall, with hundreds of specialists involved on both sides, and a strong belief it would all work out despite some logistical challenges. The list of companies that could even likely afford a $2 billion commitment is quite small. Sony, with its penchant for PS5 exclusives, of course. Microsoft, which is in dire need of new blockbusters for Game Pass. Let's see, massive Chinese conglomerates like NetEase or Tencent might also fit the bill, or maybe even a US tech giant like Amazon or Netflix, both of which are trying to add game content to their streaming and entertainment businesses. Whoever ghosted Embracer, the Swedish holding company's been left in a tough spot. It says its stock price plummeted nearly 45% in a single day. It's facing a ton of internal game delays. Its remake of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic was reportedly in trouble as of last year. Oh, and they're also due for another Metro shooter from 4A Games, but that studio is based in Kiev, and they're in the second year of a war, so that's not coming. Shit's not going good for them.
Mm. I yeah. I just I don't okay. I'm not even gonna waste time. All I want to know is who and for what. Who and for what. That's it. We're just gonna
Who's
leave it at
the
that. Who and
dig?
for what.
I wonder, like, was it Xbox and like they were about to do that whole big shit, then the Activision deal got canceled? Like, if the Activision deal doesn't go through, that changes a whole bunch of forecasts for Xbox, and like, what are the ripples of that? Like, who know? I don't know. I don't know. There could be some
Who
type
and
of
for
weird
what.
ripples. I know this is the same company that remember we said way back that the Saudi government invested like 100 million or something like that. Same guys,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
when
we're
I
like,
saw that, I
who's
was
all
like,
this
wait.
foreign money?
Yeah,
Like,
maybe that's
right.
why. I don't know.
They are buying up kind of weird games, though. Is anybody else? Is that am I off on that?
Nah, that's a really random group of games, bro. Dead
They're
Island
like
2, the Lord of the Rings
Hmm.
IP. What the fuck else
Tomb
is it?
Raider.
Hold on. Yeah, Tomb
Tomb Raider.
Raider. I mean, just
Um,
what? I guess, dude. That's like,
Deus Ex,
Oh yeah.
Thief, Saints Row, Borderlands, World War Z.
Metro Boomin. I mean
These are
Metro the
all
game. Sorry, not Boomin. My bad.
Metro Boomin.
My bad.
I like that though.
for someone that
Um,
grew up in the countryside with like a PS2 and like no internet, and then like
right, like
got really slaved
these are
out in
like
life.
weird. They're
These
all
are my favorite
recognizable
games.
titles, but don't they all feel like they're okay? So half of them are not good titles. Like was World War Z? That's just a Brad Pitt movie. Was that ever a good game?
I never
Why do we
played
They're
care
it.
about that?
nostalgic, bro. That's it.
Why is that in here? It's a brand that I recognize. Like it's a name that I'm like I've heard of that, but like so I feel like that about a lot of it. I mean, I guess like I know games like Thief and Deus Ex have like cult fault, like they're big, but I don't know. That's not like a block, but like you know what I mean. That's not like a Starfield blockbuster level right? Are those
I
games
was
going to
kind of
change things for people?
I was confused, and again, I don't know if they're different. I could just be speaking vaguely, but like, if they own the Lord of the Rings IP, how did Amazon make a show from them?
So
Or
I was
wouldn't they have to
wondering
get?
too. Is like it's very vague. Maybe we can look it up. Is it like the video game IP? Like what? Because
That's
it
what I'm
made it sound
wondering.
like they
Yeah,
own all of it, right?
right. So I'm like, wait, they own the Lord of the Rings IP? What? I'm like, what aspect of it? Because they just dropped the show last year. I'm like, what? Did they have something to do with that? They got their approval for that? Like, that doesn't make. Why would JRR sell? And for how much?
It looks like they have the rights to develop and make films, games, and theme park attractions.
Wow. So maybe they did have a say in that. Because what was that, Shad? Wasn't there the earlier like a prequel to Lord of the Rings?
Oh yeah, like the Hobbit.
What the fuck am I thinking of?
Huh.
On Amazon, wasn't there a Lord of the
Yeah, no,
Rings?
Yeah, no.
it's really popular.
Oh,
It's out right
the
now. It
the
came out like
show.
this
Yeah,
year.
yeah, yeah. Ring of Fire or Ring.
The
Yeah,
newer
Ring of
one.
Fire,
I'm like, I could have swore I watched some bunch of
Ring of
elves and
Power,
shit.
Ring
And
Ring of Power.
It says like right here. I'm reading on Variety. It said so it said yada yada yada. Among the rights Swedish based Embracer Group are now among the rights they now own in that IP are rights to develop and make films, games, and theme park attractions. Then, like 2 or 3 paragraphs down, it says he did not specify whether those stakeholder or whether stakeholders include Warner Brothers, Discovery, who are believed to still retain some film development rights to Lord of the Rings through their ownership of New Line Cinema. So it might be one of those split up things
oh,
like Spider Man or Fantastic Four, where like Marvel
that,
owns it and so does Sony.
that makes sense because I remember in the show they couldn't use any of the likeness of the previous characters. So,
Really?
so maybe that
That's
makes
how that works
yeah
sometimes.
that's why it had to be a prequel. Like it was in the same universe, but they couldn't use any of those characters because they didn't own the IP for them.
How
So I think you're right now.
interesting.
That makes sense.
That's how it gets cut up sometimes. And even there, it said films, but like films and television might be different. And then even like
Mm,
streaming television is different than like broadcast out. So who knows? But they have some type of rights. And that goes to my point,
sure.
though. Lord of the Rings is amazing in terms of video games, though. There was the one that came out in like on PS2 in like 2003 that was a legendary. Like that's a
The Two
hit.
Towers,
But that's
bro.
my
That shit was
point.
popping.
That's too right. It was weird. Like the middle movie game. What that game was amazing. Oh, I want that game right now. What? Give me Chivalry 2, Lord of the Rings. Is over. I'm playing that game for at least 2 hours and I'll delete it. But I'll really enjoy it though. But another weird. Again, it's been 20 years. It's been 20 years since the Tomb Raider game hit. Like Deus Ex, 20 years. Thief, 15 years. Borderlands is still popular, but it's been a while. 10, 5, 10.
I'm
How
telling
long
you.
since that game was
Actually, no.
popular? Like
Was it
since it came out,
Borderlands
like Nick was still playing 2 years
3?
ago, maybe 3 years ago.
Well, 3 I think came out a couple of years ago, and then Tiny Tina came out a year ago, and that was like a spin-off
But
of it. But I think,
that didn't get great. That didn't go super well though,
yeah,
right? That's what I'm like. Since when was it a hit? Like, because I would
yeah,
argue
you're
that
right.
people that were playing that were still playing it off nostalgia from the first and second one.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I feel like these are a bunch of games that
Borderlands
some
3,
some.
2019.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. Well, someone's gonna crash out of that. I'm not playing none of those games. I don't know. I
Saints
have to
Row
do
sucked.
something.
They're buying.
Yeah, Saints
It
Row
feels like
hasn't been
they're
good for.
right. It's like if you were around gaming in like 2012, these would have been fantastic acquisitions. But in 2023, it's just like, what are you doing? So I don't. I just there's really big price tags for not the big attractions that I would be looking for. So I'm not super surprised. They seem to be making bad bets.
Yeah, right, bro. They're about to sell that shit to Disney. I bet that's what happened. I
It's
bet it
like
was
you're caught a
Disney,
roller,
bro.
huh?
All that bullshit going on with Disney in Florida. I guarantee. I bet it was Disney. And then now they're in this legal battle
This
with
is Ron
DeSantis, and
DeSantis.
they're like, sorry, bro, we got to put our assets elsewhere. So
Have you guys been down Succession TikTok?
oh, no, the finale's tonight, bro. I can't wait.
Did you guys know there was like who was it? The son and Roy Disney? He was like the nephew of the original Disney guy was the president, and then I guess like what was it? It was like Disney. It was like some Tom Wamsgans shit where like his daughter, her husband was president of the company, and then he like got ousted by these three like suits from outside Jeffrey Katzenberg and these other guys. It was like a whole big family drama where like there was Walt Disney, and then it was like it was his daughter and her husband was the president of the company, but then his brother was still around after Walt was gone, and his brother had control of like the business people, and so they took the essentially the real life Tom Wamsgans and they
A
kicked him out of the
coup.
company. Yeah, they had a company coup, and I was like, "Holy shit, Tom's a real guy!" He just like came from wherever and was married to the boss's daughter, and ended up being the president of the company. But then some way bigger family shit happened, where they came in and got the family up out of there. Like the three, like the Jerrys of the world, and them two white niggas, like came in and swooped the company, and that's Jeffrey Katzenberg and that niggas. And I was like, "Oh." And the Tom and his wife just like retired. They started some other like wine company, and just like they just lost, so they just moved to California and said we lost.
Damn, I didn't know that.
TikTok.
That's
I
cool.
know. I was hyped. From Roy Disney. I was like Connor Roy Disney, Illuminati. The Earth is flat.
I don't know if you use TikTok in what is it, Montana though. We'll forward you this because apparently y'all got banned. So
Watch us on YouTube. We got you on TikTok. Moving into our next one here. This one I thought was really interesting, and it's been a minute, right? So just details of EA Sports college football video game leak ahead of the 2024 release. I'm hyped on this. The highly anticipated EA Sports college football video game remains in development ahead of its expected release in 2024, but an insider who saw parts of the upcoming game said that the improvements being made should make fans happy. The Athletic college football reporter Ari Wasserman, not that he's an athlete, but he works for The Athletic, was invited to give his recruiting insights to the game's developers as they build that aspect of the game, and noted that the additions being made will offer players a more comprehensive experience than it did when it was last on the market almost a decade ago. I swear it was longer than that. They're doing it in a way where you're not just going to get a Madden engine with the college uniforms. Like they are really trying. And I think the reason why they delayed it a year was that they wanted to make sure that when the game finally made its return, that it wasn't just some crappy knockoff of Madden, said Wasserman. Like the Dynasty mode and like recruiting and rankings and territories and all the things that we talk about on this show, they're all going to be represented to some extent in the game. Wasserman talks like a high school girl. A lot of likes in there. Um, Either way, though, I thought this was pretty cool. So it sounds like
it's
they're,
a Valley
the
girl.
game's coming out, and they're really, really digging into the dynasty mode. Is what I read there, right? That's what Chad's got on screen. So they're trying to like, it's more like being Nick Saban. Like, how do you build a dynasty university? So they're really thinking long term, trying to get into the recruiting of it. Um, I wonder how this is going to work. Anton, you remember that element of the game, right? Like, you play your last high school game and choose your school and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're kind of talking about something else but basically we were talking about franchise mode. I think the other day, dude. That's my whole.
Right,
I love that
Yeah,
shit,
FIFA.
dude. I
And so
love just, but
it gets super. Right?
I'm sorry. The comeback. How you're saying, yeah, how you play like you're in the championship game, and then you choose your scholarship, and then you go, and then you go through the whole. Yeah, I think they went OD one year when you had to have like your tests and shit. I don't know if you remember that, but
Right. That's where I was gonna go. Is like it starts to get interesting. Like even in FIFA and the other things where you're playing as a professional, it's one thing. It's super weird when it's like kids.
like a
You
student.
know, Chad, did you ever play NCAA football back in the day? I don't remember.
I used to enjoy it more than actual Madden. So like when I played Madden, I
Yeah.
enjoyed the like the franchise aspect of it as far as like seeing all your favorite NFL players and stuff. But when it came to like gameplay, NCAA was where it's at. I mean, I think at one point we were even like designing stadiums, and we were even like, I mean, I I just remember playing with like
Like the
USC.
fight songs, and I think one of them you could do the fight songs and some other weird shit
Mhm.
I
too.
think the last one I
So it
played
is weird. It is
was like the one with Reggie Bush. He was on USC. That was the last time I ever
that
played
makes
it. Yeah,
sense. Oh
Jesus
three?
I
Christ.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
That's
not oh 3. That's some nigga from
I was
Oregon
gonna say that's
Ducks.
like '05, I thought, right?
Was it
'05 or
05?
'06, I think.
I'm not as old as I think I am. 05 is
Yeah.
Larry Fitzgerald from Pittsburgh.
Lewy.
06 is that nigga from Michigan who I forget. 2007, let's go. That was the game. That was the best one. That was the best one for sure. Shout out Reggie Bush. He's from San Diego, where we're from, East County all day.
Yellow.
Also, don't live there though. Don't live there. If you can
LSU was
avoid it,
booming
don't live
back
in
then
East
too,
County.
bro. They had the dynasty. That's when Odell was still there.
ODZ.
It's way back in the way back. This man's old.
Mhm.
But again, I'm excited about that. I hope they don't overdo it, I guess is what I was gonna get to though, right? Like they can get kind of far. And it's interesting, the last time I played this or was really actively playing, I was still being recruited to play college football. And so like I just wonder what it's like to do this as an adult. Like when we were looking up at it, like, yeah. It was so different as young teenagers. I'm like, oh, I wonder how it's gonna feel like as an adult. Like it's way different. So I don't know, man. We'll have to see how it goes. I also still think it's been more than a decade. This game has been gone for more than a decade. Am I wrong about that?
Not wrong.
I was gonna say, bro,
I know
I
it's
thought it's
not
been like
21.
2010 or 11 or something like that. Because like you said, they stop having it when you left for college, and that was would you
I
graduate
swear.
2009? So yeah, it had to have been 10 or 11 or something like that. I don't think it was still going on that, or if it was, I don't know if we just weren't playing because we were into other shit. I don't know, but I could have
They
swore
had it
that.
2012.
Yep.
They had it
I'm
2012
seeing an NCAA.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, nah,
with
it was
Mark
like
Ingram.
11 or
Could
12.
be a YouTube.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, 12. It has been more than 10 years. Where's in 2011?
Yo, shout out
NCAA.
Western Kentucky.
That was the squad. What's the worst possible team in this game? Sorry, they took USD up out of there. Okay, more details on this. More details. This is really cool, actually. So they have elected now, and of course that was the issue before. Is like, well, we can't pay the players, so it's unconstitutional. And I remember them were like, they're gonna pay the players, and they were like, no, stupid, we're gonna stop making the game. And we're like, what? Like, oh fuck. Well, either way, a lot has changed. Shout LeVar Ball. EA Sports has announced that its collegiate title, EA Sports College Football. Oh, I guess that's what it's called now. Interesting. It's not NCAA, kind of like FIFA. It's not going
Yep.
to be called NCAA Sports anymore. They said,
Yep.
interesting. Um, Yada yada yada. They will pay players to lend their likeness to the game if they opt in to do so. So, according to a report from ESPN, the publisher is collaborating with One Team Partners, a firm that also works with the NFL and MLS Players Associations, to facilitate collegiate athletes' names and likenesses into the game, which is set to debut next summer. The offer is extended to all eligible players within the Division One Football Bowl subdivision (FBS). That's the top level. Players who agree to have their name, image, and likeness (NIL) featured in the game will receive compensation for it. Once they opt in, they may receive a face scan of their likeness to be placed in the game. However, not every college football player will receive a face scan due to the fact that 120 FBS college programs have opted into the game, bringing thousands of their players into it. If any player does not want their NIL featured in the game, EA Sports will create a generic avatar and player in their place. That was a lot. There's some issues with that. What's up with that face scan?
That's what I was thinking of. That's what I thought was going to be the biggest issue was for players or like how are you going to represent the players in that sense, especially on that. That's a lot. Like,
Well, but what the fuck are they talking about? Like, 2K does it. What the fuck? We can't have thousands. My nigga, do it with your phone. Send them all an app and have them do it with their phone like we do on 2K.
Mm-hmm.
How? What do you
nah.
mean you can't have thousands? Take the time. There are thousands of players. Yes, that's it. What else do you have to do?
Yeah, but on 2K, you just have it's not like they store them though. You know what I mean? It's like we can all like upload our faces, but it's not like 2K is keeping a memory. Well, I guess maybe internally they have it, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's how
but
we
to
pull it
turn
up
around
to play.
and then
Like
you
it's
use all those. I guess I don't know from an engineering standpoint how they would use said uploaded faces and then just paste it to a character. They probably just don't want to pay somebody to do that. 'Cause that'd be hella long.
yeah. I mean, I get. Well, I guess I was gonna say. I guess it's just a lot of work because like they just won't do it. And the NFL, there's way less players, right? There's 32 teams on 160 or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, well, they do it for FIFA, but like, no, they don't.
Way
I
less
was just
games.
talking to my family about how funny it is. I was looking at some of the players. She was like, hey, that's that guy. It was like Phil. She was like, that's Phil. And I was like, yeah, Phil Foden. He looks like him. Some of the guys don't look like them until they're really
No.
good. And if you're really good, then they make sure you look like you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So like even in FIFA where they have so many more players, they actually don't. But that's still my thought is like you can't just have them all like you can they're all it's rare that you would have all the players in the same system, right? You think FIFA, some players play for River Plate or wherever it's some, third tier team in Brazil, which is not River Plate by the way, they're not third tier. But they play for some random club or you're not a huge famous player and they've got the Premier League and all the Champions League guys, lots of IP to manage here. This one, they all play in the same league. Like you could get them all the same exact app at the same time instead of deadline on. Like it's pretty controllable. So I just don't understand why they wouldn't face scan everybody. Because then it's like, who doesn't get the face scans? Do you get paid more if you face scanned? I should get paid more if you have more of my likeness. No, maybe.
I don't even think they should do it at all, honestly.
I'm like, do
I
it or
think
don't
whoever
do
the
it, but
top,
don't halfway.
it should incentivize it. Whoever, like, if you make the tournament or like the top 10 teams or something like that can qualify for a face scan. Or like if you win your bowl games and like top
I
10 or
love
something
that.
like that, you know what I mean? Then
I
you can
love
get a
that.
face
Take it off
scan.
the players.
I
Take it
think
off the
that just
players and make it
opting,
about the field.
yeah, but like just opting in for like your name and your background and somewhat like relative likeliness of you, I think is more than fair enough for a 19-year-old or half these kids to be coming in. You know what I mean? It's like because like you just said on FIFA, Bukayo Saka just got a face scan in
Just
FIFA,
got the
and
update.
you know what I mean. And this nigga's been balling out, so it's like why like if anything, and he's the face of Adidas and all this other Arsenal and all this other shit. So like, why would some kid from fucking Oklahoma get that of it? You know, so I think that that's just too big for your breaches type shit. Just you're just, hey, lucky you're not player number fucking 16. All right, we'll have your name, we'll have your hometown and your fucking high school on here. Be happy for that. You'll get a check monthly for everyone that buys this. I think that's
See,
more
yeah,
than enough
can we
incentive.
buy stuff? I don't know, man. That gets tricky. We'll have to see how it goes. I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of IP questions. Like
Yeah.
there are players that are more valuable, right? Like we could see like who's like now we can get data to like who's played with more, like who gets more. So does everybody get the same amount for being in the game? Like you just this is what you get. Like everybody gets $50 to be in the game, you know, which that's too low. But everybody gets an amount of money, or is it based on? Is it like does it fluctuate based on how included you are, your performance? I don't know how close you guys are to like the NIL conversation, but what we've been seeing is like the top earners are, of course, the top performers from the most important sports,
Hmm.
and then like traditionally pretty girls, which is somewhat problematic. There's this girl that she's on the gymnastics team at LSU. I think so. I think is the team.
Hmm.
Either way, like she's been getting like her, you know, she's gone viral for just being like, you know, young boys are so attracted to her. She's like a TikToker and she's got all these NIL deals, so she got really famous. And now she's like being harassed at her meets and he's like a security detail because mad horny like high school and college boys are showing up and harassing this person. It's crazy. But
Yeah.
it gets into a weird problematic area, and I don't know what the answer is or if it's necessarily a problem. It's like, is it about being the best on the field or being good at your sport, or just about being popular? Like when we get into these conversations, it starts to get weird.
Hmm.
Like even if Baker was still in college, even if he or Johnny Manziel, even if they had a bad season, like do you play as him more because he's so popular? Does that mean they earn more from the game?
If you don't mind, if I can kind of push this here, kind of I think the last part
Yeah.
of it, the like how I think it kind of rolls into how we're talking about who should be on
Oh,
the cover
absolutely.
of it. Yeah, I think that's the biggest argument for who should be on the cover. Definitely.
Exactly that. Like that's where we're going. Like, and then who gets like if we continue the tradition of a cover athlete, do they get more? And it's not a problem necessarily, but it just starts to get weird when we start to incentivize things other than just performance on the field.
Hmm.
College sports are a nightmare, though. It says here from the next article, like Anton was passing toward, the impending release of a new version of the beloved game underscores just how much change we've seen in the sport since we last had it. The Bowl Championship Series has been replaced with the College Football Playoff. So last time we had the game, the playoff didn't even exist. The transfer portal didn't exist either, so you couldn't even transfer before. Wow. Of course, roster overhauls look more like the NFL than ever. Clemson is good now, which is funny. I thought that was a good joke. It's like, yeah, Clemson matters. A walk on named Baker Mayfield won the Heisman. A walk on named Stetson Bennett led Georgia to its first national title in 4 decades and then ran it back for another one. Tennessee beat Alabama. Texas Christian played for a national title game. Oklahoma and Texas have joined the SEC, which is super weird. And USC and UCLA have joined the Big Ten, and they suck, which is weird. That's not in here, but they're also just like not good. So either way, it begs the question: who should be on the cover? And I thought this was cool. Like, should they run it back? You have 10, 13, whatever, 11 years of history. Like, who should be on the cover? When did Cam play? How far back can we go? Early thoughts, ideas? Reggie Bush, as Shad says. Anton?
I went through a whole lot of back and forths, and honestly, I as much as I hate to admit it, I really think that Nick Saban deserves it.
Nick
There are
Saban.
a
That's the
lot. There,
quickly the list here, right? It said Caleb. It threw out a couple of names: Caleb Williams, the USC quarterback; Trevor Lawrence, we know that guy; Joe Burrow, what a run; Stetson Bennett, and then it ended with Nick Saban. So yeah, go on that.
yeah, between players and coaches. Well, and I mean, because I was thinking, and I don't know, I feel like I'd be too biased to say like anything LSU related. So that's why I'm trying to like it.
Joey
Like
B.
as an LSU fan, I hate Bama. Don't get me wrong, but for what they
I would
do
take
for
Joey
the
and the receivers.
dude, for what they do for the sport and what Saban has done as a coach in itself, I mean, you got to give it to him. I think, and for the longest streak from the last one to this one, I don't. I don't know. I feel like it'd be unfair to give it to any one player just because you could make an argument of what like Trevor Lawrence or Baker Mayfield. Um, or, I mean, you know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like you can make an argument of any why one player would deserve it over another. But like from a
That's right. It
historic,
opens up the door, right?
yeah, yeah. But I just think from like an argument wise, because then again, who deserves it? Because that's one thing I kept thinking. Who deserves it over Nick Saban?
That's a hard case to argue against, right? I think it opens up for a lot of you can start to get creative because of what you said there. I think it opens up the door again to like, do you do a combination? Do you do like a collage, right? Is it a collage of the last 10 years? Is it the best quarterbacks or all the Heisman winners? You made me think of Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase. Like
Mm,
that team, but like those three were in like how many teams had three guys on the same team that were that good? Maybe something cool like that. That'd be very LSU. Maybe they do like they do in NBA where they put out different ones, right?
mm-hmm.
What if there was like 10 different? It's all digital now. They didn't mention that in here actually. Last time the game came out, we still bought games. We like still went to the store and bought games. It's all digital now.
Yes,
So now like
yeah.
the cover is not really as important. It's still it's more of like an announcement or an homage, but it's like an RP. You could have 10 different covers, whatever. You can download the different versions, but it could just be whatever artwork, right? It's like a loading screen, basically.
Because I've always thought that the Heisman should win it, which is kind of hard because but then I think from like NBA, like they had Devin Booker was the cover athlete this last year, and I mean, he didn't win the
Never won
MVP.
anything.
I mean, he didn't. Yeah, he's
Never won
never won
anything.
anything. Yet he was the cover athlete. But then each season they have like a different cover athlete, whatever. Like
Didn't
Josh Giddey is
Zion
like the
have a
cover
cover?
athlete for
Sorry, go on.
well, you know what I mean? Like last season, who was it? Tyler Hero, and this season it's Josh Giddey. So like each season they have like a highlighted player, but then like Devin Booker was the cover. So I don't know. I've always thought that maybe for like a coming back one, maybe Nick Saban like an over. Hey, this is our welcome back. We're gonna have it be as a special shout out to you know Nick Saban, and then moving then forward, maybe do like a Heisman one or something like. I don't know. That's what I think, but
That would be dope though. Like if they did like like four covers every year, right? Like a coach or like a dynasty one. So like Nick Saban, then like the best players who won the Heisman. I was just looking at the 2K covers where they did in 21 where they had Kobe and Zion, and then I think they had like one with some WNBA athletes. Like they do a couple
yeah,
different ones. I really like that. I think it would be cool, especially now. This is like you only get one, hopefully, one time where your game's been on a decade long hiatus and you come back. So like this is one time to be extra. You know what I mean? Where it's like, it's my birthday. Like, this is the one time this is your day. Be extra. Don't do this every year. Don't give us 10 covers every year, but go for it. You know what I mean? Give us something cool. What is your homage to the last decade plus of college football that you've been a part of? Or not been a part of, I guess, apart from. Uh-oh.
is it?
Anton's Googling. He's got an idea. It's on the
Yeah,
way.
no, I was trying to see. It wasn't like I think they were
Thierry
putting
Henry looking at it.
Kobe on the cover of the next 2K because it's like an anniversary one, and people could,
Kobe
like
and
well
Gigi
because the joke
probably.
was like I'm not buying another 2K, fuck that, and then there was like the special edition was like a Kobe one. It's like
Yeah.
God damn
Got me again.
it, got me again, the fuckers. That was not funny. Yeah, I thought
It'd
it
be
was like
like
their
that.
20th anniversary or something like that. But anyway, whatever.
But I would dig that. I would dig that. I'd be cool with that.
Yeah.
If they gave us a couple of different ones. Could you guys hear my dog?
Mm-mm.
You got
She's
away
freaking
with
out.
it this time. You sleepy. No, she's just having a dream. She's so cute. All right, moving on. We got this was I thought was super interesting, and I learned a ton about Starfield. Anton, I was gonna throw this at you, but just only because I don't know if there's any bombs in these notes. I'm gonna read through
I,
just in case I gotta
I got it.
gotta finish. You want to go for it? I'm not
Yeah,
sure they're necessarily consecutive.
it's all good.
Jump in there.
So this is big. Yeah, this is gonna be a good game. So headline: Starfield feels like Xbox's last chance at redemption. This reads, with Redfall a huge disappointment after months of no shows, Xbox has one last shot at keeping its fans on board. It is absolutely impossible to argue that Starfield is not crucial to the entire structure and narrative of the rest of the Xbox Series XS generation based on where we are now. But we've had one huge profile first party ball dropping Halo Infinite, which was okay at best, but miles from the glory days of the series. The campaign ended abruptly with Microsoft laying zero groundwork for more Master Chief stories, despite Infinite supposedly being a platform. Oh, I'm sorry. Besides Infinite supposed to being a platform for those. Halo Infinite took
Hmm.
forever to figure out how to be a live service on its multiplayer side, and even if it's now better than it was, it's far from relevant in the overall PvP landscape of the industry, which is for sure. Then there was
Facts.
Redfall, which was a high profile Xbox exclusive, B from Bethesda, their newly purchased mega publisher, and C from Arcane, who does not miss and has produced Game of the Year contenders. And Redfall was one of the worst AAA games in recent history. Not just a miss, but a true disaster. I mean, I'm not even going to get into that. If
We didn't even
Starfield
talk about it. It
fails,
was so bad.
dude, yeah. If Starfield fails, that is very bad, very bad. That would be two games out of the Bethesda purchase, launching poorly from studios normally known for practically guaranteed hits. Even more than Redfall, it would indicate Microsoft does not know how to manage either old or new first party partners. If a supposed sure thing like Starfield can't even stick the landing after all this work and delays to get it right, what hope do those other less fleshed out projects have? Man, I moved my
Not
mouse.
good.
Shit.
Well, it's not been good so far.
No,
Did
sorry,
you
I moved
guys
my
check out
mouse.
the trailer for this or anything? Like, how up to date are you? I'm excited for this, but like, if anything, this article got me all the way like on my toes. Right? I was like, holy shit!
Mhm.
I didn't realize how much. Like, sometimes a lot can hinge on one thing, and it's like this might be a really big moment.
Right. Well, here I'll finish and then we'll get into it. Sorry. Sorry, I moved my
Oh
mouse.
well, there's a
According to
couple. Well, one quick thing because these are a couple of different like hop around topics, I think. But just
okay.
on general in terms of the game, I was going to say that again, it seems like the overall success of Xbox going forward is important here. One thing I thought really stuck out, I think, from this article and from the article he was talking about, because his friend wrote one, this guy, was just about how definitive this is for this generation of Xbox.
Hmm.
So, right, we've had the different generations, and what I was realizing is like we're actually pretty far into this one. Like, kind of,
Hmm.
this current generation of Xbox pre Halo Infinite, right? Like, since before we started the pod, we're a few years in, and if you imagine it started, even a year before that or a year and a half before Halo Infinite with the TV show, all those things, and you look at where they are since before we've now had Game Pass for a while. Like we're a few years into this generation. Say it ends up being 10 years, we're 3 or 4 in already, and we can see the next 3 or 4 years, right? Like we know what's happening already. So that'll put us at about 8-ish, right? Like in terms of the Activision deal, what games they have coming, they're planned that far out, and we kind of know what's coming. Always room for a surprise. So just we're actually getting into the definitive space of whether or not this is another whole generation that Xbox lost again to PlayStation, and it's just coming up sooner than maybe we realized. And the final piece to that framed it for me was he said, "Well, Xbox has enough money to keep throwing at this, so like they'll run it back and try and win next generation if they need to. That's fine." And I was like, "Oh man, that's gnarly to think about. Like, it could almost be time to throw in the towel on this already. Like, shit, PS5 was kind of nice. They got us again. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Starfield has to work."
No, it really does. I'm like bittersweet on it. Here, I'll save my opinion for after. So
Fair
according
enough.
to data miner Bill Kuhn, who was an excellent track record of product leaks, Microsoft will unveil a special edition Xbox controller and wireless headset at next month's Xbox Games Showcase. That sounds tough. The limited edition Starfield controller will reportedly cost $79.99, with the headset priced at $124.99. Starfield was originally scheduled to be released last November, but in May of 2022, the game was delayed to the first half of 2023. While Starfield may take place in space, its focus should be on humanity. Science fiction does not need aliens, ancient ruins, or galactic threats to be engaging, and Starfield is a perfect AAA game to prove that. This also isn't an unreasonable ask for Bethesda. Despite their flaws, the plots of Fallout 3 and 4 were about conflict between humans. Fallout 4's Far Harbor DLC also proves that Bethesda can write compelling stories about characters and ideas rather than just saving the world. Starfield fans
Couple of
have been calling.
interesting.
Hmm?
Oh well, that's like a third topic. We'll just on the last two quickly. Couple of interesting things. The rollout looks pretty crazy, and I think I ended up deleting it from the notes. But did you guys see that they're gonna have this the Starfield Direct and I guess the Xbox Showcase, but Starfield Directs in theaters, like movie theaters?
Oh, yeah, I thought I saw that. Okay. I was
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is
I saw
that.
that
So they're
somewhere.
gonna roll it out, which is dope. But you're also like, if you and I don't know if you guys signed up. I did. If you go sign up for the Xbox Fan Fest, and you still have time if you catch this, may actually probably not. It's June 1st, I think, is when the emails go out. But if you sign up now, they'll send you an email with information. It's first come, first serve, but to collect tickets to go watch this in theater. So I'd love to go together. And apparently they're sending out codes for $10 worth of movie snacks. So you know what I mean? Get up in there early. But I like the rollout. Like they're really going all in on this. Like this is supposed to be their baby. You know what I mean? They're getting serious about it. So I'm ready for it. And if you know, I mean, if they stick that landing, I might cop this controller and this headset. I don't know about Xbox headsets, but possibly. The other piece there that I thought was interesting, they were talking about the storytelling aspect of it,
Mhm.
and I found that pretty interesting. Where they're like, don't go too far on the aliens thing, and I hadn't heard that said before yet. Like that concept of like, don't be afraid to build sci-fi, but like all the other types of stories that we build, the drama is like human drama, right?
Mhm.
Is those like write beautiful human drama set in sci-fi settings. Don't just make it about aliens. I think was like this person's recommendation. It was really interesting though, because like this was a deep opinion piece article this person wrote that wasn't about like the development of the game or the mechanics at all. It was just about the story, and I just thought I was like, who is this person to tell them? I found it interesting, but this person's like really, really concerned about what the story is and how that plays out. So like a lot of stakeholders here.
Yeah, this is I don't know how to feel about this game, dude. Because it seems like a more polished No Man's Sky to me. Is
I
that
was
accurate,
thinking
chat?
that.
Maybe. I don't know. No Man's Sky's come a long way, so it might even be that No Man's Sky might be better than this game. It's not a hill I'm willing to die on, but like No Man's Sky has really, really come a long way. So this better be as good, if not better. I guess I don't see it. I don't know. It's really tough. I want it to do well, but with games like Star Citizen and games like No Man's Sky, it's hard to like be like, hey, this is kind of already done. So I guess focus on your story. I guess.
That's what I'm getting confused on. Star Citizen. I'm like, isn't there one that's like mad expensive with big ass ships that cost like real
Mm-hmm.
ass money? Then people travel. Okay, that's Star Citizen. Wow, I'm fucking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't. Well, Star shit is getting me fucked up, but okay. Well, yeah. Well, then this is gonna be like a like you can just. Okay, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see in the story, but and it's gonna be multiplayer, open world,
Like
right?
Fallout. Like have you ever played Fallout 4 or Fallout
Yeah,
76? Kind of like that style, but it's gonna be a
yeah.
space.
I got
Yeah, it's like
76.
space, but just in space. No Man's Sky.
Hmm.
It's that's what it's so it's supposed to be. It's kind of like that, right? It's like, hey, so these aren't concepts that are completely brand new. It's just you know what I mean. Like when's the first time that somebody does it well? Like that's like what you know for what it's worth. That's what Fortnite did. They came by and like, hey, we know these concepts. We're gonna do them really well, and then see how we can build from there. So it's supposed to be the best version, right? Think Star Citizen and No Man's Sky, but if they stuck the landing. I know when they came out, it was like bad, 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 and that throws a lot of people off, right? We talked about Halo and Halo got better. It's actually a lot better of a game. I'm still not really going back. If they had stuck the landing and came out the gate as a great game, maybe it'd be different. But it's hard to win people back. So even though I have heard that No Man's Sky has really got better, I think it lost a lot of its thunder when it first came out. This feels like the heir apparent to that, and maybe the way they stick that is one in mechanics, but two in the story itself, which I thought was interesting.
Hmm.
That's
I
all, that's what I
gotta
was
I
thinking.
don't know. I gotta see some gameplay on this because it seems I love these type of
Yeah,
games. It seems excuse me. It
I think
seems
they have the
interesting, but
gameplay
like
trailer out.
I don't know, dude. Just the buggy aspect of it. I mean, try not to be pessimistic about it, but I'll never forget how pissed I was when Fallout 76 came out. I was like, "What the fuck is this game, dude?" I was so, oh, dude, that almost completely turned me off to them. So I'm really hoping that, like you said, I mean, I feel like they are really all in
So
on
they're
it.
putting all their eggs in this
It's hard
basket.
to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Fallout's fucking legacy is tainted from that shit. I don't care what you say. And then what else was it? Like Skyrim in those games? No, I mean those are good now, but at the time, weren't those games hella
Yep.
buggy for like
I
hot
think it's
minutes?
normal with Bethesda. I can't. Woo. With Beth. I can't even say
Unless
their name right. Bethesda,
Bethesda.
yeah. Like I think it's normal. I think normally when like the Fallout games first come out, there's a lot of glitchiness, but they're really good about like putting out the patchwork and like I guess fixing it. It's just a matter of like how quickly are they going to do that? I mean, No Man's Sky took like 3 years for them to even fully like
That's what I
finalize
was gonna say.
everything, and like now it's where it is. So is this going to be off rip good, or are they really just putting their eggs in one basket? Which kind of could be dangerous.
If you click that
Especially,
last link I just shared in
Yeah,
there, chat,
the
there's
gameplay.
a newer view of some gameplay.
Got you.
Yeah, I guess one from a couple weeks
I'll
ago.
play it.
Keep going, Anton. What was that?
uh, sorry, excuse me. Also with the movie theater thing, I think that's cool, but that I don't know. I feel like that leaves a lot
Big
of room
pressure,
for, yeah, that's a lot of pressure because it's like, what are you
right?
gonna okay, to get us out of our house, to get us ready to go. I mean, the $10 voucher thing is cool. Like, all right, I could probably buy a medium drink with that. But what?
Shab, you skip ahead about halfway through.
But like, man, that's, I wonder. I mean,
Thinking
what's
about
this
it.
going to be? Just like a 20-minute? I mean, for movie theaters to agree to this to just have people go in there and just watch this for, I don't know, that's a big, that I think that's leaving a lot,
So
even for something I like. That would be like, they would have to nail it for me to walk out of there and be like, fuck yeah, that was worth me doing this. And what's this going to be on like a
for what
Tuesday? Like, what, people going to be taking off work, or like who?
I was thinking about that. It is the whole Xbox showcase for what it's worth. It's not just it's not going to be just Starfield because that would be a lot of like still a lot of pressure.
Oh, okay, I missed
Like they're framing it as Xbox Live Showcase and Starfield Direct. Like so
that.
it
Okay.
does have its own kind of part of the event, but they're not asking people to go for just that. That said though, this is supposed not unlike Spider-Man, which we'll still touch on, but not unlike Spider-Man at PlayStation, it was like this is the headline, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see. You're getting a view of gameplay now, right? It looks
Yeah.
really it looks awesome. I don't know. I don't want to get my hopes up. It looks really cool, just visually grab like the approach from a story perspective. It looks like that Matt Damon movie
Mm-hmm.
Martian.
Hmm.
But like that's really impressive because it really looks like that shit. This looks cool. And that's another thing. It looks like it looks more human based than not. You know what I mean? It's not all like Fortnite-y and colorful and wild. Like this looks more like if humans, as we know us, were on a planet somewhere. Like real gun, yeah, the gun shooting real ballistic bullet. You know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
lasers and shit. And I think that's what that for that one person was leaning into. For what it's worth, that article felt a little bit loaded too. I felt like that person already knows what this game is about and was like, "This is what they need to do for it to work." And I was like, "But you already know that." Because that seems to be right. Some of the writing was like that, but looking at it, I'm like, yeah, this is definitely that. This looks kind of cool. That almost looks like Doom for a second.
With the shotgun.
I'll close it out with this too. Shout out to, well, actually, I guess not a shout out. Rest in peace to Alex Hay, who I guess was a big fan of the Starfield. Dude, God, what is up in my mouth? Of the Starfield
Yo,
game legacy title, whatever. He took to Reddit to express his disappointment at the Starfield release date announcement, revealing that he had just stopped treatment for lung cancer and was in palliative care. Unfortunately, Alex lost his battle with that at 35 because they pushed back the release date, and so he will not be able to play this game. There was a campaign, I think I said here, Alex and Starfield, the community, was pushing, and Bethesda acknowledged it. So I guess they're rumoring that he will get some sort of shout out in the game, which is I think that's actually really cool. They should do, or add a little nod to him. I mean, but
it is so dope. That's sad.
yeah,
It's really sad that like that like they just play. He's a lifelong passionate gamer, And they're like, hey, actually, that's something you never think about, which is way too, not like he was putting the pressure on them like that. He's just saying, hey, this sucks and it is what it is. Part of the gaming community. But that's something you never think about when you push back a release is like, hey, people are going to, some people that might be fans of this might never get there. You know what I mean? So this guy was waiting for it. And then after they decided to push it back to September 6th, he was like, oh shit, I'm not going to make it. And he didn't. But there's been some pushes for them to put some type of a recognition for him in the game, and apparently a lot of the players are already saying they're going to name their starships for him, right? So you should see like it's a sweet way to bring that to life. I think that's really dope.
Yeah, that's cool.
It
Gotta
says there's
remember why we do this.
Using the hashtag Alex in Starfield. Just putting that out there in case anybody wants to support.
Because fuck cancer over here on this podcast.
Did you guys hear that they have a vaccine for pancreatic cancer?
Yeah.
No.
It's gnarly.
We're like actually almost there. Kind of gnarly. Oh, very gnarly. Either way.
That is gnarly. But yeah, that was it for Starfield. We'll have to keep our eyes out and see what happens with that. I think I said release later in the first half. I could have sworn. I don't think I read it. The release
Starfield?
date was that later this year? Oh, September 6th. Okay.
September 6th.
Keep that in our profiles, and I'll push this on to the next big title that we mentioned from PlayStation Showcase, Spider-Man 2. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and read through this. And one of the most exciting reveals of PlayStation Showcase, Marvel's upcoming Spider-Man 2 got a 10-minute gameplay demo. The first extended look of the sequel, including a close look at one of its villains, Kraven the Hunter. The last glimpse at Spider-Man 2 came all the way back in its reveal trailer in 2021 during the PlayStation 5 showcase. It'll have Peter Parker and Miles Morales returning to New York City to battle one of Spider-Man's most famous enemies, Venom. We see Peter Parker using the symbiote suit in combat and the ability for the player to switch between Peter and Miles as they play, which I thought was pretty cool. I'm sure you guys saw that. It was pretty badass. A PS blog post confirms that we did indeed see Kraven the Hunter at the start. He's beginning his great hunt for an equal alongside the rising threats of the symbiote. The gameplay we watched Kraven's Hunter chasing down the lizard with Peter and Miles trying to stop them as they soar over the East River in Queens, one of the multiple new boroughs included in the game. I kind of wanted to just pause and interject there, because that was something that I was a little like, if there was anything that I was like hating on watching this, I was like, bro, New York again.
Well, I know when you get stuck trying to swing out of Manhattan, it's like, all right, I've done this a lot.
I'm just like, bro, New York again. Oh, they added another borough. Sick. They're gonna have all 7 by the time you know what I mean? Like, all right, whatever.
It's funny they're adding the less exciting boroughs. We've got Queens. Yay! Who the fuck wants to go to Queens? That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I thought that was kind of random. But anyways, a release date has not been announced yet.
That's the only people I want to cover this.
Brooklyn. So a release date has not yet been announced, but it was previously given a fall 2023 window. A Venom voice actor, Tony Todd, said in a since deleted tweet that it would likely come out in September. Notably, given his appearance in the trailer, this is fairly close to the release of the upcoming Kraven the Hunter film. Miles, I actually didn't know about that. No, Miles Morales actor voice Najee Peter also recently spilled some details on the Insomniac sequel and seemingly teased the co-op mode. Insomniac, however, was quick to shoot that down, saying on Twitter that it's an epic single-player adventure like the previous 2 games in the series.
That would be pretty sick.
What's up with these voice actors? Why can't they find some people to shut the fuck up? That's not. I'd be like, they've been thousands and thousands of people. I worked on this game 3 years ago. Thousands of people have worked in this game, and the 2 people to fuck it up are 2. Hey yo, shut the fuck up. That's so funny to me. Why do they even know this shit?
Why are they not media trained on that? Like, what?
Read the line, shut the fuck up. Read the line and shut up. Don't talk about this at all. What's so hard about that? The Venom voice, again, how do you know this? Why do you know when the release dates are?
Jeez. Yo, everything regarding Spider-Man gets spilled, because what's his name do it too?
Holland, yeah.
Yeah, Holland.
I think like twice.
Oh, you're right. That was Spider-Man.
Said, oops.
It's a rollout. Everything's a rollout. I'm on to y'all.
These motherfuckers at Spider Man are legitimate fans, bro. They start talking about it and get all excited and just oh shit.
Speaking of Spider Man, they pay the Shade Room to do their PR. They're like, you guys break this shit. Just leak this shit everywhere. Get it on Twitter.
Yeah. Nah, I don't know, man. I really
I'm
can't get over the whole New
well. This
York
was
thing.
Well, like,
everywhere,
what do you
right?
suggest as far as like cities? Like, you want them to go to San Francisco? Because that's the only other place
We
that they're
can't.
at.
Spider Man is New
Yeah,
York,
well, like Eddie Brock in the comic books ends up living in San Francisco, so that's really the reason I said San Francisco.
and
You know, it's like that would be the only other
in the
place.
movies they do
Yeah.
go. Well, of course, in the movies they go over broad. In the
Mhm.
movies, in the comic books, they go to
Right, right.
space. There's like mad places. But
Space.
Chad, you're right. I think
Yeah.
you're right. You want Spider
Yeah.
Man in space? Silver Surfer?
Not
No.
really.
No, and I don't want another yeah, I guess you're right. I just it just seems the same to me. That's why. It just seems like it's the
Like copy
same
paste the
game.
city
Like
type shit. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and
I
that's why.
got you.
Again, the fighting it did look cool. I did like that, especially with the Venom
Hmm.
aspect and the
Hmm.
switching. And I mean, it looked clean. I do like it. I really enjoyed the game, but I just want
Dude,
Hmm.
something different.
that's my thought. I wonder, and again, in terms of that, I'm like, yeah, it's the same. But do we need some, in terms of a true sequel to a game? So they're like, hey, we made Spider Man and you guys liked it. Just like they do with the movies, where they have like maybe a trilogy with one actor. It's like one go of it. So they're like, hey, this is our version. And maybe it is just supposed to be like, if we view it more as an extension, like DLC almost, like an extension to the last story, and less a different game. Because maybe they've made some adjustments, but I think it really is supposed to be a
Hmm.
sequel, right? Because if you're a big Spider-Man fan, like when you get into Craven the Hunter, that's when you've gone past my Spider-Man. Like I know who that is, but that's when you've gone past what I'm really into. Like anything past Doc Ock, and I'm like, well, all right, you guys are really going far. I want the Goblin, I want Doctor Octopus. You know what I mean? We're staying in the main
The
canon
main
here.
villains,
Yeah, the big
not the B
simple one. But
tier.
when you get this far in, I feel like it's for the
Right.
core. What was the one Jamie Foxx played?
Shocker.
The
Shocker.
Shocker. I made that. I hope it's not what it's called. Jamie Foxx was a Spider-Man
Hmm.
villain. What? Also, shout out to Jamie Foxx and prayers for Jamie Foxx, that man.
Hmm.
But I feel like they're getting really far in there, right? Like they're deep in their bag, so it really is a sequel for the main fans, and it's like got some slight evolutions. People are hyped on it, but I do think you make a good point, and it probably won't be as big a hit as the first one was, right? Because that was like it still felt
Yeah.
new, and it was probably new to a lot of gamers.
It was new. Sorry, excuse me. Like the open world. Like yeah, from the last Spider-Man to that one, huge upgrade. But from that one to this one, well, I guess wait, let me finish reading if we'll get into that 'cause this is a perfect segue. So this was
Hey.
Marvel's Spider-Man's 2, 5 changes confirmed by the gameplay showcase. So one, like I mentioned, was the combat. Insomniac Games has not been shy to reveal possibly the main focus of the sequel story, the symbiote Venom, being one with Peter Parker. Unsurprisingly, this story direction looks set to take the combat to a new level entirely. While the 2018 title provided a great gameplay experience through the blend of tools, combos, and finishers, the reveal of Spider-Man 2 combat shows a far more aggressive and brutal Peter Parker. So that was one. Two, faster swinging.
Ooh.
Over the period of both Spider-Man 2018 and the Spider-Man Miles Morales, many fans came to the realization that the speed of the swinging between both Miles Morales and Peter Parker could do a little tweaking to be faster and more lore accurate. Luckily for PC players who recently have been able to experience both games, Spider-Man modders have worked their way around allowing for faster movement and swinging, resulting in rapid movement and traversal. New traversal mechanics, speaking of, in addition to the increased speed of web swinging, Insomniac Games has taken traversal up by another notch through the addition of a wingsuit for both Peter and Miles. I thought that was pretty cool.
Shad on timing right now. I don't know if you guys can see this video, but Shad hit
Oh
that
no,
that wingsuit.
yeah, the
Oh,
wingsuit's
that's
pretty
you,
cool.
Anton?
No, no, that's Chad.
Whoever's
Let me
sharing.
see.
Okay.
Let me see. Presumably, the mechanic will be incredibly crucial to the manner in which players will be able to advance through the newly added regions in the sequel. And the wingsuit could be a significant role in pivotal traversal sections during the story-driven scenarios. Darker tone. Taking the symbiote suit into consideration, a change in narrative tone was one of the more predictable shifts in the jump from the 2018 to Spider-Man 2, especially after the game's reveal trailer showcased Venom. Yeah, so that's pretty much the same forward. So yeah, with Venom and kind of like they said, a more aggressive Peter Parker. I guess they're going to change a different approach to that storyline with him. And then lastly, the character swapping. Rockstar Studios' Grand Theft Auto 5 showcased the mainstream potential of utilizing character swapping to improve a story. While probably not directly inspired by the open world project, Insomniac Games seems to be implementing this feature within the sequel. Within multiple missions of GTA 5, players have to swap to other characters as they all play major parts in clearing the overall objectives. Spider-Man 2 will probably have a similar route. It's pretty cool. I like that. That'll be cool. Going between the two and coming to the end. That's definitely a different approach. But yeah,
They do have some solid upgrade, like or updates or new. This does look pretty cool. I struggle with some of the games that just look cool though. So
yeah,
like even what we just saw in that video, like Shad showed, like it's like a cool cutscene. It looks like, or even in I don't know. I struggle with some of those because I'm like, well, I could just go watch the movie. Like if you're just gonna show me really cool stuff, I'll just go watch the movie. If I'm not
right.
gonna
It's
be the
just
one doing it, but then also if I'm the one doing it, but it's the same, if that makes sense. Like if it's like, hey, do this routine, but everyone's doing the same routine, I'm like, oh, that's not as much fun to me either. You know, when it's like, here, swing from here. Like in this game, sometimes it's like get from point A to point B. And it's like, well, you're just keeping me busy. That's like busy work.
yeah,
And also too, like
But I go back and
I was
forth.
like a huge player of the first one. I think this is the only game that and Ghost of Tsushima are the only games I've played where I have completed 100% of the game. Even like the secret locations where you have to go and take a photo of you doing like a special aerial jump in front of a building and to make sure it's in frame. I've done all of that, and I guess like I wish there was more customization for your own style of swinging. I know it's kind of bizarre, but with this like new multiverse of Spider-Man going on, where they're creating it into like I guess like a 21st century style like animated movie that's a sequel coming out. I wish there was more of an ability where you can swing differently. Like you could swing more like a brolic freaking Venom. You know what I mean? Or just nimble and like fairy like like Spider like Peter Boy. You know what I mean? Whatever. I said Peter Boy. Wow, Spider Boy.
I like that.
this is though
Peter
you're
Boy's
just
fun.
reminding me of Star Wars. I thought that was really cool how they added the
Mm-hmm.
stances in Jedi
Yeah.
Survivor. So yeah,
It just
I
gives
see
it
what
a
you mean.
different variation
But
as
right,
opposed to
right.
just pew, 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 pew. You're all dead. Like, pew.
Give it some personality, and again, give it to the big fans like Shad that played 100%. Like you have to make sure you evolve it for them, and maybe less than like the big people. They also have a lot. I know they have a lot of big collaborations and stuff, right? So like, watch out for the
He just throws
rollout.
them.
I think this is the beginning of it, but I mean, I think they're going to keep going and going. Apparently, there's a what is it? What is this Craven
Yeah,
film?
so the guy from remember the movie Kick-Ass, Kick-Ass 1 and 2? The guy that plays in the green suit, I forget his acting name, his real name. But he's playing Craven. Anti-hero type of movie. Maybe like
Oh,
Mobius or Morbius, whatever that's called. That movie was awful.
you guys should know that this is a Sony film and not a Marvel film.
Thanks,
Putting
Jared
that out
Leto.
there. I'm looking at the thing. It looks
Mm.
pretty bad.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
I just got what you
what?
said. Okay, never mind. It's a Toby
Yeah, like
Maguire
the
type.
and
Not
Toby
not
was the
Tom
goat, but
Holland.
it's
Yeah, he's emo.
yeah.
Got you.
Do you remember when they tried to make their own like Tarzan movie that was random as fuck?
The one with Brandon Fraser.
Ah, I'm sick of you. That's George of the Jungle, my boy.
Damn it, that's right. George.
Sony was Well, either way, I'm. How?
I couldn't stop laughing at the memes and shit about the Xbox users after this showcase, especially after seeing the Spider Man one. It was like Xbox users seeing the Spider Man 2 trailer, just like trying to act like they're not mad, but they're fucking mad. That's crazy. I mean, speaking of all the fucking Xbox and PlayStation shit that we be talking about, PlayStation exclusive. Keep in mind.
You're a PlayStation exclusive.
I wish, dude. I got a fucking Xbox fridge.
Fle-
I got
Casual
an Xbox
flex.
fridge. I'm very confused. I'm trying to find out what's going on with this Craven thing.
Fuck Craven.
Yeah. I
Stab
think
him,
I'm right.
dude.
This is not in the Marvel. This is not the Marvel one. We don't want this.
PETA's
We
finna
don't
be
want this.
pissed.
Apparently, Ryan Coogler was trying to
They
make it,
said
and they
no.
said no. They said no. We got this. We own these rights. Sony be fucking everything up. Come on, Sony.
Who's directing it?
But
James Gunn.
I wish.
I'll watch that. That man could do anything.
Well, because then he's over there, no?
He's in DC
Isn't
now.
he?
He's the president.
Yeah,
He's basically the Kevin Feige of like DC. He runs it.
Who knows? It may be decent if he has.
They've done a bunch of new stuff that they're coming out. Like I think there's like 8 movies, a bunch of series that they're working on.
That Flash movie looks so
I want to see it.
I want to see him wild out like in real life, bro. Like I'm trying to see the Flash like be on some fucking
Like A-Train?
What's his name?
Like
Ezra
A-Train?
Miller.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I want to see him like act like your real self, bro. Be on some A-Train shit. You know what I mean?
We go watch that nigga Ezra Miller.
That's what I'm saying. I want to see.
He's wild out. I don't know. They brought Michael Keaton back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
That's my shit. They brought back the Keatons. That goes back to Buster Keaton in the old man. I don't know.
Can we get a Batman Beyond movie?
That
would be
oh my god,
crazy.
I would go broke.
That
I would go broke.
crazy.
I would go absolutely stupid. They've been fucking that up for so long. They gave us what's that nigga's name? Ben Affleck. I almost said Ben Stiller. They gave us Ben Affleck
Black
as
Adam?
Batman before they gave me. Okay, we should get off the pod because Black Adam.
So was Ant-Man. Don't watch Ant-Man.
I did not. Oh man, this was a beautiful episode. Season 3 is fun.
It was awesome.
We're out here.
I gotta piss.
We know things. I mean, I'm not in the office. Anton has to go pee. We could be in a better setup physically, but the episode was great. Music to your audio ears. And for those of you on the YouTube, you know what I mean? You guys got treated to some beautiful, beautiful presentations by the boyos today. Thank you so much. Again, Discord is open. Instagram, TikTok, definitely the YouTube, of course. And as always, anywhere you get your podcast. Shouts to the network, Comic-Con Radio. Anton, Shad, party words.
Much love, man. Check us out on the show socials. Like, leave a comment, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. All of the creators ask you to do. We love you guys. We read the reviews.
Comment back. We out, y'all. Till next time. No randoms.